Yeah, just like at midfield. Just go right now. Go to camera 3. 3. Go to the gate. Perfect. Just like that.
I'll just go ahead.
Yeah, graphics 2 is going to be up for the first. Okay. Go right now. Go to camera 3. Go. Yep. Go to the gate. Perfect. Just like that. No music.
I'm going to hand to Q. Sophie.
Wait for it.
On radio in the Canal Zone.
All right, guys, mic check.
Go ready.
Okay, Ricky, mic.
Yep, I am ready.
Wait for it.
Willie, mic check.
Yep, let's go.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're live.
Okay, and go for it, guys.
All right, guys, here we go. Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. Pacific time, and 7 p.m. Canal Zone time. It's August 1st, Ricky. How's it going, man?
Good. August 1st. That's amazing. What a great year, too, guys. Truly
Right.
phenomenal year. Well, everybody, thank you. Like always, thank you for joining us Friday here at Willie. What time is it?
It's happy hour at the Balboa Yacht Club. It's happy hour time, man.
Happy hour time. 5 p.m. out here on the West Coast, 7
Yes.
p.m. in Panama Canal Zone, 8 p.m. Eastern. But anyways, guys,
Indeed.
thank you for joining us once again. Like every Friday, happy hour at the Balboa Yacht Club. We have this happy hour. We talk about everything Panama Canal and the Canal Zone way of life. And we always start this show with a toast. So to all
Indeed
you
we
viewers
do.
out there,
Absolutely.
thank you right now. You guys are all piling in. Appreciate it. Cheers.
Yes, absolutely. Cheers. And it's Ricky, it's nice to have you behind the bar with me now. We've got this, we're working things out a little bit here. It's part of our season
finally
2.
both behind the bar.
New and improved. Yes.
Boy,
yes.
yeah.
So
We
that's
should have been
kinda
from
cool
gate
here.
1. Now we're
But,
we're on second season now. So yeah, we're new and
It is.
improved.
New and improved. We're always upgrading things and switching
And
things
we got
around.
our audio fixed. So that's another big thing.
We
this
did, yes,
week.
indeed. So
All right,
it's going to be a good time.
gonna
Of
be a
course, it
great
is the
show.
first of the month, so we've got Dave Dahlstrom joining us, our Canal Zone historian, and this month, of course, August. Now we don't think about it as much, but back then you thought about going back to school, right? But it was kind of cool because football season was kicking back in and things like that. So it was bittersweet. But August was the back to school month, so of course, Dave Dahlstrom's going to bring us some history of Canal Zone schools. So it'd be kind of cool to learn all that stuff, So that's gonna be a lot of fun. A couple other things. Yesterday was and I don't forget what year, 81. So, geez, we'll talk about 45 years, 46 years, or 44 years, or 45 years since Omar Torrijos passed away in that plane crash, and got some
45
interesting
years.
visuals to show you about that tonight too. So.
Yeah.
That's going to be an interesting show, an interesting thing, a way of looking at what happened back then. But hey, it's happy at the Balboa Yacht Club, man. It's a good time here. I know Ricky's got some cool stuff as well going on today. Not a full swing bochincha because Dave's coming on and he's got, of course, a great history lesson for us. But there is some stuff going on in Panama, nonetheless, that Ricky's gonna let us know about. In fact, some Zonian news too. Ricky, don't you have some Zonian news right now?
Yeah, I do have some announcements, guys. Willie, you familiar with the IFBB Pro? It's called the International Federation of Bodybuilding. Okay, so
Okay.
this is like the elite level of bodybuilding. And to be part of this group, the IFBB, to get to that level, now you can compete in, Mr. Olympia, the Arnold Sports Festival, the big time. So one of the very few female judges for the IFBP is none other than our very own 1985 Balboa High School graduate, Veronica Latterman Webb. So she is putting on a clinic in Panama on Sunday, August 3rd at Total Supplements 507 in Panama. Again, a Zonian girl representing Panama in the Canal Zone in the IFBB, International Federation of Bodybuilding. This is the elite level, and she is a judge from there. So cheers to our Zonian.
Yeah, no, Veronica. Listen, Veronica, she's out in Tennessee, and her and her husband are very much into the, not just in bodybuilding, but the competitive bodybuilding, really, really, really successful at it. Been doing it for a lot of years, and they've gotten into judging a lot of the competitions. So this is a big step to do that down in Panama.
Oh, yeah,
That's impressive, man. Good for her, good for them actually. And then also, interesting segue to that. Another Zonian into athletics, and not necessarily muscle athletics, but into the fighting arena. We talked about this previously. Warren Gibbs, his two kids, Brenner and I always destroy their names. It's Brenner and Stone. That's right. They have cool names. But we've seen them before. We showed some cool videos of them, and recently they were in Orlando for a tournament, and of course, as in typical fashion for these guys, they were quite dominant at it, and got a cool little poster there, and it's cool because when these guys are typically on stage receiving any kind of accolades or awards, they always have the Panama flag. They always are representing Panama.
Representing Panama in the Canal Zone. Did you say there was some tournaments they participated in recently?
They did, and that's what this one is here, where this poster was. And so they both won gold in their GI and no GI, which I'm not sure what that means. We'll have to have them on one day to tell us about that. But they won them, and remember, we've seen these guys in some videos, and they were quite dominant in those videos. But because of that, in addition to getting paid, as you can see on the screen there, they got some coin for it. But they also they were chosen afterwards for another competition that they're going to be joining, and so, oops, hold on, let me.
That's the father.
That way. Yeah. So here they are after each one winning their competition with their big belts, and I imagine their rooms are full of belts hanging there and trophies, But again, they've gotten invited to another competition, and these guys just continue to be extremely successful at this, man. So, hats off to them. Well done, as far as representing your sport really well and representing the zone in Panama, man. So right on to Warren Gibbs and his kids, Brenner and Stone Gibbs.
Speaking of represented, look at this comment we have here. Mr. Walter Brown. Hi from Walter Brown, Bible High School, 1961.
Wow.
VHS, right on. Lived on Mango Street. Okay. There's a
cool.
famous song on Mango Street.
Yes, there is. There is. Speaking of famous songs, that's something else that we want to shamelessly plug here, is that in 2 weeks, the 15th of August, is the anniversary of the Panama Canal. Don't forget that it's also the anniversary of the founding of the city of Panama.
That is correct.
And most importantly, it's also the anniversary of the founding of Shorty and Slim. And so they're going to be debuting a new song, and they're going to be joining us as well. A lot of things going on because, again, it's the anniversary of the Panama Canal. All kidding aside, the Panama Canal is really front and center for all of who we are and what we've done here. And so we want to celebrate that. And one of the things we're going to do is have our Canal Zone historian is going to make a second appearance in the month of August. He's going to host a Kahoot. He's going to host a trivia session. It's going to be all about the history of the canal and the history of the city of Panama. So pay attention, go do some reading, some researching, whatever, get on Chat GPT, whatever you have to do, but figure it out because we're going to have some cool prizes. We're not sure what they are yet, but got a couple of folks out there, vendors that want to support the show. And of course, put themselves out there to our audience. So looking forward to that, but stay tuned for the 15th of August, because that's a really cool show. Also, I mean, the month of August, let me tell you what, Ricky, this month is jam-packed. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Take the month of August, remove anything you have going on Friday nights, because you want to watch this live and maybe chime in and chat with our guests that we're going to have on. Next week, really exciting show. We're going to have Elias Perez on, okay? He runs the Cunayala Expedition. You've probably seen it on Facebook. These guys have some really amazing trips to the Sandblast Islands, but they're more than just, hospitality. This guy really does promote the Cunayala culture. They also have a school. Remember last year, Allison Huff joined us, and she was doing a fundraiser for a Zonian, and my apologies that the name, I draw a blank real quick, but they're doing some fundraising for a school out there. They were hit, especially during COVID. They were hit really hard with all the restrictions as far as education and whatnot. So, Ricky and I were chatting about it earlier, and that might become our pet project, is to support these guys and fundraise, and who knows, maybe be able to present something to them in January at the reunion in Panama. But anyway, Elias is going to join us next week, so he's going to talk about what they have to offer there and give us a great education on the Guna culture. And again, I'm saying it with a G because that is the proper pronunciation. We, of course,
apparently they don't have a K in their vocabulary.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so, out of respect, but what's interesting is when I was talking to him about it, he referenced it and used the term Kuna, which again, it's probably more so because he's talking to Zonians and that they would be more familiar or comfortable with that phrase. But either or, I think as long as, we're not meaning any kind of disrespect, I think it goes
the
well.
Kunas also use the swastika on their flag.
Well, let's set the record.
No, I know. But it's just the fact that they got a swastika.
It's so sad. I feel really bad for them because you think about it, anybody outside of Panama, for the most part, would look at that and immediately there's only one reference that they can have.
Oh,
and it's not going to be those, I feel bad for them in that standpoint, because you're right. That's, and then, at 15, of course, next week I said, Elias Perez is coming on. The 15th is our anniversary show.
Dave
and then
Hall's
the following, the 22nd, this is somebody, a guest that I've been after for a while. And in all honesty, it's been more my fault than his. He's agreed to come on, and then things have gotten in the way and whatever. But a gentleman by the name of Bud Tristano is going to join us.
We've all seen that name. If anybody looking for
name,
pictures,
you don't recognize it,
Canal,
but I'll tell you where you certainly see it is when you watch the video of Panama Days, Mark Cicero's Panama Days song.
Yeah.
The scene going down the slide. That whole video was shot by Bud Tristano, not a Canal Zone civilian Zonian, but of course we know that those folks down there in the military were Zonians as well. And Bud was stationed in either Howard or Kobe. I believe it was Kobe in the 70s. And just a young guy in the Army, but an avid photographer and an avid videographer, which back then certainly was rare. You certainly didn't have phones with some cameras and stuff.
And it's like
he does. I mean,
like around there, 74, 75.
Yes.
A lot of.
So he's going to be joining us
and
and tell us his story about exploring the zone. And again, get the story of somebody that joined the military, got stationed in Panama, and made the absolute best of their deployment. And then they've got shipped away elsewhere. But he has very fond memories of the zone. He watches the show. He's a fan of the show, and he'll be joining us here towards the end of the month. So again,
That's
guys, August,
great.
Clear your calendars, man, because there's going to be some fun things to have. We will hopefully have a lot of folks from the military. I'll definitely be promoting this to all the different military Facebook pages and such, get them involved, because I really want to hear a lot of those stories. These guys played a big part in the zone, and we often overlook them for obvious reasons. We're a bunch of selfish bastards.
This is how we're growing our community.
Indeed.
Exactly. We have to grow our community. Willie,
exciting month of August coming up.
We got a lot of people.
Of course. And before we do, though, one more thing. Sorry, guys, but one more thing we always want to make sure that we do, guys, is don't forget on YouTube, especially, subscribe SCN Canal Zone. It's on YouTube at youtube.com/at SCN Canal Zone. Again, that's kind of funky, but if not, you can go to the YouTube channel and just search SCN Canal Zone, all one word, and you'll find our shows there. But make sure you subscribe and like and get notifications so you can tune in all the time and help spread the word. But yeah, definitely let's say hello to a couple of folks here and do our thing, and let's get this.
Go ahead, Willie. You do
the
it.
Screen here. We'll leave our beer.
Every time we both do it, we end up taking it off
and we do step on top of each other. But real quick, go back to Walter for just a moment.
Yes.
Walter, class of '61, fantastic. I mean, that's you've got some great memories of the zone, and for what it's worth, Walter, most of the folks that we talk to are more along our age group and whatnot. But I would love to talk to you and hear what graduating in 1960 at Balboa High School, 1961, and
those were the golden years.
freshman in the 50s, right? So that would be a cool story. But either way, thank you for tuning in. We'd love to have you on, and hope you enjoy the show. And
that
feel
was
free
the
to
when
chime
the
in with your
Cristobal
memories.
High School teams were winning all the time. So maybe you can come on, let us know about that, Walter.
Yeah, and I'm going to jump to the bottom real quick just to pick up on it, since we are talking about him real quick here. So his dad was born 23rd of May 1914. Was the first baby to transit. Look at that. First baby to transit the canal.
We need to see you on Wednesday. You need to celebrate with us.
Was in my grandmother's arms on the transit of the canal on the SS Advance on August 8th in 1914. How about that? What a great Zonian legacy. We heard so many of these folks that have several generations of Zonians and have been around there for a while, but they're all the stories of them on the ground. Here's the story of somebody actually on the ship. That's where it all started, So what a great story. Well, thanks for sharing that, Walter. Right on. We definitely have to have you on the show, because that's a fantastic story to share. Sheila, Good Friday, of course.
Sheila,
absolutely.
hola, Sheila.
Have you on.
Thank you for coming, like always. We appreciate it.
Oh, there we go. Hey, Steve, how are you?
Mr.
Looking forward to another great. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, Steve's great.
Oh,
Final flight
hopefully
queen.
Steve can come back on, because there's got to be.
Oh yes, he absolutely will.
Show.
Him and Jesus are both going to join us again, because there's more books coming out, and I'd like to talk about this story again. There's no reason why we can, and add some more color to it. But for those of you that don't know, Steve Tochterman joined us. Him and his co-author on a book called Final Flight Queen of the Air, which is available on Amazon. In fact, I think we still have it on a banner there. We can throw it up there real quick and give Steve a little bit of love here. But basically, it's a story.
I have it. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I'll do the tickers and all that.
Right.
But we got to say hi here to my good friend Jerry Curtis, because it's a good story that we talked about last week. Well, Jerry's packing right now, and then Willie can finish the story. But last week we talked about Jerry joining Team USA for this vintage enduro racing, representing the United States. Is one of the top 6 riders in the nation. So Jerry's letting us know, because he's normally busy Friday night, that he's packing for that Poland trip.
Well, and
so
especially,
thank you.
Busy even just from a standpoint of Jerry, a very successful company. And one of the things they do a lot of is commercial refrigeration. And, here in the Tampa Bay area, it's been blazing hot, man. So I imagine his phone has been ringing off the hook, and all this time he's trying to plan a trip to Poland, of all places. So bottom line is, like Ricky said, he's been selected for a very select group of folks that ride and they race in Europe in these international tournaments. But like Ricky said, there are vintage bikes. They're not your 2025 whatever's. I'm not.
Yeah, this is raw talent, not machine winning everything.
100%. So he's going right now there. He's going to be doing some scouting. Understand, because of course they have a lot of regulations and stuff, and so, but the next year he'll be going with the team as a rider. I mean, he'll be available as a backup if somebody hits a tree or something and can't get up. Jerry, he'll jump on that bike in no time and do his thing.
Yeah,
but
just
next
take up a
year
lap.
he'll be doing it again. Yeah, right. And again, they have different regulations there. They actually have regulations regarding the bikes and what they can and can't have on them and all that stuff. So he wants to figure all that stuff out. So, imagine going all the way over there, get your bike shipped over there, and all of a sudden they inspect and go, oh, wait, you can't use this, you can't use this, you can't use this. All of a sudden he's like, whoa, man. So he's going to learn that business and be available. And then next year he's going to Germany and he's going to do that. So, hey, you know what? We're going to have to start working on some fundraising, Ricky, so you and I can.
Oh, yeah,
can
we can go. But let me tell you, not only does he does this kind of racing, he also does Baja 500.
Well, that's the guy that he's done it with got him into this because he's rode with him in the Baja a couple of times.
I think they placed second.
Yeah. Yeah, this guy,
Jerry
it's just unbelievable. This guy is just absolutely ageless.
And he is from close to, where is Mango Street? Is it Mango Street in Gavilan?
Mango Street was, yes, I believe it was.
Yeah, Jerry lived close to that. So, by the way, there you go, Mr. Brown, one of your neighbors, big time motocross.
Gavilan was one of those.
But
cool
LeBlanc,
places,
LeBlanc also, I think that's his last name, also lived in that neighborhood. And he's also a champion rider like Jerry.
Okay.
So right on. So that, Mango Street.
They had a couple of those big fields out there behind those houses. Remember, they had all those old,
that's where we rode.
Apartments.
That's where we rode with Jerry.
And those houses, the ones on the end there, were right along the the bridge.
Plus we
going
had
down
the
4th of
fence,
July.
that protective fence that would go onto the bridge. But when
Because the other side was
Jerry,
Panama, technically.
when Jerry was like 6 or 7, his dad bought him 2 Yamaha 60s. So of course it was one for him and one for whoever got to hang out with him that day. And we go riding back there. Yeah, right on, Jerry. Well, congratulations and good luck, my friend.
Yeah,
we'll see you when you get back.
Safe
Tell us your
travels.
whole
Getting out there. Don't
experience.
forget your passport, man.
Yep. Vamos siguiendo. ¿Qué tenemos aquí?
Let me see
Vern,
here.
yes, Vern. Hey, we need to do another Cristobal.
Go ahead, you do it, Ricky.
We need to do another Cristobal show because that show did very good, Vern. You did a great job in informing us Pacific Siders that don't have a clue about anything over there. We'd love to have you back on, especially with all these new ports that are going in. We want to know where everything is and etc. And then also, Vern's sister is also a bodybuilder. So I'm sure Vern probably has heard of this Veronica.
Oh, I'm sure she has, and her and Veronica are friends anyway because they're both class of '85.
Oh, they're both class of '85.
Yeah. So
all right. To our bodybuilding girls, man. People always say,
absolutely.
Willie, that we never talk about the Canal Zone girls. Look at us tonight.
Well, no, absolutely. And I got to get in touch with Eileen because we're going to start working on some content, some Zonian ladies content, and we'll have to come up with some clever name or something. But she's going to spearhead that for us because, we do, and it's not necessarily on purpose, but we do, our content seems to be more male driven, and it's it's kind of like the same thing as Pacific side driven, right? I don't do any Atlantic side content because I didn't live there, except when I was 6 months old. So, same thing with the ladies, join us. And there's some great Canal Zone history, I'm sure. And, a lot of ladies that I, grew up to watch that, helped with a lot of the organizations and stuff. And I mean, and I know, for example, with the cheer program, that was a big deal, and they were well organized. I know Brenda MacArthur, Fran Hearn, who else was there, but again, there's a lot more to it there that they're going to be, she's going to help spearhead that and bring some of that content to the show. So that should be a lot of fun.
Yep. Mark Cicero. Thank you, Mark, for always showing up, man. We appreciate it, Mark. And yes, still the #1 song in our playlist.
Hey, and speaking of, yes, it absolutely is. And that song comes on all the time for me on Spotify, and it's great, man. And like I said, my wife even knows it.
Yeah, I have it on my Instagram, right? And every once in a while, I posted that thing when he first put it on. I still get, I see people like it still. People are, it's still going in my Instagram.
Lately on Facebook, a lot of people have been posting about it. It does. Not everybody is diehard on social media like some of us are. And so they pop in every few months and all of a sudden they come across this and like, whoa, what is this? And it's fun because then it starts circulating again, right? Because we all have the same friends. So it pops up again. And it is, and I mean, no bias here at all, but it is a great tune. For a Zonian, it's a fantastic tune. It really
I like when he says,
heart,
hanging out with my Sonian friends. Yes. That's the best part, man. That always pow right there, man.
And speaking of Zonian friends and speaking of Mark Cicero and his music, we're working on a Christmas tune and the video for it. So anybody have any Christmas memories, stories, but mostly, of course,
Santa Claus on his knees.
Send those so we can make another great video like we did for this one here and start doing it now. So we have something really cool ready to go and roll out, after Thanksgiving and get us into the Canal.
Somebody would have a Sears catalog. That would be phenomenal. I think we'd all freak out if we saw a Sears catalog.
Yeah, no doubt. That's true. Cause that was kind of the kickoff of the season, right? When that thing came in, man. And if you had siblings, you fought over that thing.
Oh my God!
He's been looking at it for hours, and all right. Let your brother look at the catalog for a while.
Yeah, that was big for the Canal Zone kids. All right, man, we're getting carried away here like we always do, Willie, man. Who else do we got to say hi to?
Yeah, throw some others out there because I want to go over that Omar Torrijos thing real quick.
Let's get into that. Let's get into that, and we'll come back to our comments and our guests.
But again, interesting information there.
Yep.
Yeah, and Dave's going to be joining us here in just a moment, jumping in the green room, and he's got again some great
this Torrijos things is good,
school.
Guys. You ready, Willie? You got your maps. Were you guys ready for this? This is a good show coming up right now. Sorry, Willie. Sorry.
Yeah. So yesterday, actually, July 31st was also the anniversary of the death of Omar Torrijos. And now obviously this is somebody that certainly back in the days of the zone, and certainly in the 77, 78, 79, there's probably a lot of people in the zone that didn't care for this guy a whole heck of a lot, right? Because he was a guy on the other side that was taking the Canal Zone from us. But nonetheless, as time has gone on, and you, if nothing else, you just come to accept that the Canal Zone is it's gone now, right? The memories are there, the spirit is there, everything else there, but the actual Canal Zone was gone. But this guy was a big leader for Panama. He brought Panama, to the forefront for a lot of things, and a lot of people down there credit him with a lot of great movement for the poor people down there, right? Especially farmers and whatnot. So obviously, Panamanians' opinions and Zonians' opinions are a little bit different, but nonetheless, back in 1981, on July 31st, he was out flying. He was traveling out in the interior, as he did a lot of times out there. The guy was born and raised out in those areas, so he was in essence going home. And so on this particular day, he was traveling out to. He was out in Rio Hato, which was the big airport down there. Out in that beach area, whatever. It turned out to be quite a military place. And nowadays, it's actually a big tourist airport. They've enlarged it, and you actually have flights from Canada and from the charter flights from the U.S. and stuff. So they bring a lot of tourists through that area now. But back then, he did a flight, and as you can see a little bit on the chart there, he left from Rio Hato, made a brief stop in Penonomé. I didn't even know they had an airport in Penonomé, but he made a stop there for about 30, 40 minutes, and then went on to Coclecito,
Willie,
which
I
is...
think the maps are not there. The maps are not showing.
Yeah, no, I'm going to pull them up in a second. I'm just giving some backstory. And I'm going to show you here where all that was located. A lot of bad weather back then, as you know, just like it is today. In fact, I think somebody posted the other day that a massive bunch of rain was being dropped in Panama over the last week or so. This is rainy season down there. This is when, it's in these mountainous areas, there's very little visibility. And that's what turned out to be the case here, the way they tried to make the approach, and they weren't where they thought they were going to be, and they crashed right into a mountain. And unfortunately, him and several other people, 7 people total died. It was 5 passengers and 2 crew members here. But what's interesting about this is the locations here. So you kind of get an idea of where all this is, where Rio Hato is in relation to us in the zone, and then where these flights were. And again, knowing the distances, take for example, Balboa to Cologne, we know is 50 miles. This area is a little bit wider, right? It's not quite as narrow there, but it's still not a big distance. However, back in the 80s, if you recall, there wasn't the big highways in Panama. And so some of these places, to get from Rio Hato, let's say to Coclecito, the town where I believe he was from, but he had a big affinity there. I think he had a finca, a farm out there. But it probably would take hours and hours to get there. And so, when you run the country, I guess you can tell them, hey, let's jump in a plane and let's go. So that's what they did. And they did a stop in Penonomé. And then from there on the approach into Coclecito is when they unfortunately crashed into the mountain. So quick images here, just to kind of give you some perspective of these of course are today's images. They're not from back in the 80s. It probably wasn't a big golf course there next to that runway back in 1981. But it's interesting to see right above the airport there, you see Santa Clara label there. I didn't realize that Rio Hato was that close to Santa Clara and some of those beach areas that I was familiar with. But from there, Penonomé, that was a small airfield again. And again, this is today's map, so it probably looked a lot smaller and more sparse back then. And then finally, this is Coclecito airfield. And I can't imagine that's been a big change from what it was 40 years ago. It seems awfully small and sparse there. It's, it's probably very, very rural. Heck, it was probably a dirt runway back then. But nonetheless, wanted to kind of show you guys, give you an idea of what happened here. Here again is the post crash, the funeral, and it was a big deal in Panama, as you can well imagine. To Panamanians, this guy might as well be a founding father, right? Because this guy got them the canal back. Ricky's uncle was part of this group. Obviously he was the chief negotiator for the treaties, and of course the president at the time. And in fact, Ricky, wasn't he behind him in another aircraft?
Yes, he was on the aircraft behind, but his pilot didn't take the chance. They went back to Rio Hato, and Torrijos kept going, and bam.
Yeah, and unfortunately, but anyhow, so this was the result of it. And then of course we know what ended up happening subsequent to that, and quite a few changes, and ultimately ending up with Noriega, and a lot of people have to this day speculate that he had something to do with that. And
No, but
interestingly enough,
it wasn't. I testify that there was no CIA, none of that, guys. I mean, no, there's a
yeah,
lot of people with great, because like I said, my uncle was on the plane behind them, and they did not dare go through that cloud, so they went back. And then Torrijos'
right,
pilot, I'm sure Torrijos told him, go, you're a man, blah, blah, blah,
exactly,
that, because,
exactly, a lot of
the
pressure there.
Copa, like you said, Willie, pilots were most guys. And
Yeah.
those guys were known for landing in Costa Rica's foggy weather.
Sure.
So he had one of those kind of pilots that had that kind of confidence. So Willie's going to now take us what that pilot was seeing.
Yeah, I'm going to show you. This is an interesting, and obviously I can't replicate the weather, but I'm going to show you what they were attempting to do, what they were looking at doing here, so you kind of get an idea of how all this occurred. But so this is the area here. This mountain here is called Santa Marta. Is the name of this mountain here. The peak is 3,400 feet, and the crash site was at 3,100 feet. So it was 300 feet below the peak. But here's something interesting to see, and let me just get some
and the blue dot above is the airport.
Yeah, so I'm going to take you there first so you can see where the airport and the runway is, right? So the runway is there, and the attempt here was to go through this mountain pass and come out and then line up with the runway there. And I imagine they probably were more looking to go on this side. I'm going to show you here in a second what that looks like from a better perspective, so you can really see, what these mountains look like here, right? As you get down lower here, right? He probably wanted to go through this gap, shoot out here, and then, of course, touch down there. But what ended up happening, and again, if you suddenly bring down a big cloud layer there, you're assuming you're there. In 1981, when it comes to flying, for what it's worth, when you're using instruments, typically for any kind of precision type approaches or landings, you're relying on instruments at the airport itself. Those are the ones that are sending a signal and helping your plane get lined up. Well, as you can imagine, a little runway like this in 1981 had nothing like that. It probably didn't even have lights for all intents and purposes. So they were relying solely on any instruments and their understanding or their situational awareness of where they were. And unfortunately, as you can see, they were coming down, quite a bit low and just, ended up smashing
almost
right
made
into
it
this
over,
thing.
man. Just
Yeah.
it.
It really was, and so it's just one of those things. It's unfortunate, again, no disrespect of any kind or anything, when it comes to that. But, this guy was the leader of Panama. This guy is considered a hero in that country for getting the canal. And again, he did a lot of things for that country on the rural side. So he did it. And so it was, I'm a firm believer, as we've learned from Dave, who'll be jumping in here any moment here now. But, we've learned that Omar Torrijos did not start this movement to gain the canal back, and that this stuff was already in the works. They
just wrapped it up.
He was at the right place at the right time, man. Is what that
at the
was.
End of it started with Kissinger and Fulvio Linares, his father. That's where it started.
Absolutely.
With Linares.
I mean, this guy was definitely pivotal. There's no doubt about it. But it's not like this guy came in here and all of a sudden he's like, "Hey, I want to do this," and everyone's like, "Oh, I hate you," and. But nonetheless, rest in peace, Omar Torrijos, and as Paul Harvey used to say, now you know the rest of the story.
So that's good, Willie. That was a great presentation.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Earlier, I'm like, wow, they're gonna love this, especially
it was.
He knows exactly what's going on. So all those conspiracy theories about the CIA guys, it's true. I mean, I could be wrong. Yeah. My uncle could be lying. He could be on a take two. I don't know. I doubt it, but it was definitely an accident.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Mm-hmm. But nonetheless, as you know, guys, it is August 1st. And so the first Friday of every month, our Canal Zone historian, Dave Dahlstrom, joins us. And so he's going to be joining us today with a great show on the schools. We hated August, man. Summer was over. Like, oh, you got to go back to school, And the only thing, like I said, that made it feel a little better was we got to play football now. But school started, and so it was not a fun time to be in the zone, I guess, in that sense. But it was great. We've learned that our Canal Zone schools were second to none. They were top notch and great teachers and a lot of fun there. But let's learn how all that got started. So let's have our guest, our Canal Zone historian, Dave Dahlstrom, join us and give us some Canal Zone scholastic history. Dave, how's it going, man? Good to see you.
How you
Hola,
doing, guys?
Dave.
Hey, we're
How you
glad to
doing?
see
I
you
gotta
here.
pull up my presentation here.
Oh,
Yeah, no,
Sorry.
you've got it on your end. I've got it queued up on my end. So you take your
All
time.
right.
In the meantime,
I
say
got it.
hello.
I got it. I got it.
Right on, right on. And
Yeah, I
listen,
I
got
we're
got
it.
ticker
excited that
tape.
you've actually joining us twice this month. So we've got that extra privilege in a
Yeah,
couple of weeks
yeah.
to do a fun history. So if you guys haven't been watching, remember it's the first Friday of every month. You can go back over a year now of these shows where you can see Dave talking about the Canal Zone and brush up on it because there's going to be some cool things to win and get yourself some cahooting going on there. But anyway,
All
Dave,
right.
good to see you, man.
Yeah, good to see you guys. We started the last show, I guess it was in June, talking about the end of school. And we started running through the history of the schools. There's a lot of history. We didn't get through it all. So this is part 2. So I'll do a
Right
little
on.
bit of an overview of the stuff that we did in June, but I don't want to dwell on stuff that people might have already seen and kind of
Sure.
finish up this presentation.
Right on.
Um,
Yeah.
but I just have to say, the school's getting ready to start, but back in the day, it didn't start till October 1st and October 4th.
I know we had such
Oh, how
long
about that?
summers to play at the
Look at
gym.
that. And was it still getting out in June?
I can't
Hey,
remember. I can't remember the date that it got out, but I remember the start
Interesting.
dates.
Cool.
But actually, and we'll get into it. There, we had white schools and we had colored schools, and the colored
Right. Remember that.
schools was year-round school, 12 months a year.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, so we'll
Huh.
get into that a little bit about.
Right
But
on.
other things I want to talk about today, go to my agenda. Will I've got a famous Zonians, and I called it Family Edition, and this is Family Edition 2. I've got a story that unfolded at during the reunion in July, so I want to tell that story, and
Yeah,
then
absolutely. Let me
I've
get it
got a
queued
couple
up here.
of where am I's, so the photos of
mhm.
objects and places. Can you guess where they are or what are they? And then we're going to go back into the history of the Canal Zone schools. I call it part 2, and with a detour into the Goethals Memorial. And
Oh, right on.
how does Goethals Memorials in the schools um, intersect? I'll try to connect those two. But
Right on. Now, give me
um,
just a second here because I'm trying to get this in the queue up and it's giving me a hard time. So give me just a moment here. But let me do this. Oh, I know what I can do.
But while he's doing that, not only did we have the great teachers, but we also had incredible campuses, even in the elementary. I think at least I'm talking about like Balboa
yeah,
Elementary,
well,
Diab Elementary.
I'm going to
Those
try to take you on a journey of all the schools, pictures of all the schools that I could find. There were a lot of
right.
schools in the Canal
Oh,
Zone over the years.
Heck yeah.
We know the last 15 of them, but there were 30 schools at one point, and
Wow. Holy cow.
then the new ones got built. So there's probably been close to 50 different schools in the Canal Zone, and we're going to go
Okay.
through some of that. We're going to learn some. I
Sure.
learned about some new places I'd never heard of before,
Okay.
and
Right on.
so we got to go back and redo some stuff. So,
Heck yeah.
all right, we'll keep on learning. All right, so okay, we'll go on to the next one. Famous Zonians.
Okay.
This Zonian, which Zonian was known as the Institution?
The
mm.
institution. See, we know in the zone in Spanish, El Instituto, when you heard about that, you're thinking about rioting. But apparently
Mhm.
before that, there was the institution in the
So
zone.
I would have to say Outsprague.
Yeah, he would certainly be an institution
Well, he
without
might
a
be
doubt.
today's institution, but this
Yeah,
was back in
today, but back that
1950.
day.
All right,
Oh, Stevens. I
Okay.
go with Stevens then.
1950. So I'll go through it.
1950.
All right.
50.
The quick
Okay.
answer is Thomas Joe Ebden, and
Thomas
he was my great grandfather's nephew, and my great
Wow.
great grandfather's cousins, and he came down to the Canal Zone in 1907 with my great great grandmother and her family, and he started working on the canal. And when I presented this a couple months back, and when I was at the reunion, go to the next slide. I I was talking to Diana Huff Grimison, and she
Right.
says, "Hey, I guess we're cousins because Joe Ebden was the husband of my great grandmother."
Wow. There you
And
go. The
you know what?
Zonian web
Her
continues.
great grandfather one of the greats, I don't know if it's one or two, was one of the first steam operators, the
Yeah.
shovel steam
Yeah, yeah,
operators
yeah, yeah.
that you
That's
had
the same. It's the
you did
same
a
guy.
show on. Oh, it's the same
Yeah.
guy. All right,
So
yeah.
we got a family picture there.
Oh, right
Right on.
on. See, that's what this
At the
show's all
reunion.
about.
You know, I
Yeah.
did not know that. So here's the
Oh,
go to the next slide. And this is a picture
there he is. Yeah.
of her relatives. Her great grandfather is the gentleman that's sitting on the arm of the steam shovel with President
With the
Roosevelt
red in the
Yeah.
in
in
the
the red
red, right,
shirt.
sitting down with
Okay.
the hat. And
Wow.
he was basically assigned to give the president the tour of the canal area, and he went and visited families. He had lunch
That is
with his
so
family at his house
historical,
and stuff like
man.
that. And then on the photo on the right, the girl on the far right, the little girl on the far right,
Okay,
this
in
is
the dress.
1906 when this picture was taken.
Yeah.
She was young at the time, but she ended up marrying Thomas Joe Ebden. So that's his future
Oh,
wife,
okay.
and I think her father's hanging off the end of that rail car in the back.
Oh,
But
very good.
that's our connection. Is
That is
that
the OG Zonians right
yeah?
there.
All
No
right. So
doubt.
then we'll go to the next one, and
Roosevelt's got to get the OG
yeah.
designation, the
So
Yes.
GOAT.
T.J. Ebden institution in Locks Division. He retired. So he retired in 1950, and he was known as an institution. And he was retiring back to Houston, where he came from. He had been a lockup. He worked at the Atlantic Locks, and he also had the longest period of unbroken service in the Canal Railroad organization. And so when he started, he was with ICC, and
Right.
he had worked, I think it was 45 years or 47 years. And it says his service record dated earlier than 1909, and it's actually 1907. I'll show you his service records in a second. So go to the next one.
Amazing. There he
So
is.
that's a little bit closer picture of him. It's the same picture. You can't really see it in the other one. But I got these
Okay.
pictures from another cousin of mine. His name is Bruce Scoggins, and he lives in Texas. And
Okay.
we connected on email through the Roosevelt medals. We were both buying the medals through the Canal Society. They were offering replica medals, and then we were able to put our families together. And so he contacted me and sent me this information here. So go
That's
on the
amazing.
next one. So one of the things that you can find on websites are your canal like employee records. And so
Sure.
this is called a information sheet. So this one's back from about 1936. So I just wanted to kind of point out to people that if you have relatives that worked for the canal way back when, you can still find records and find photographs. And it lists family
Great.
members and addresses and stuff. And so it's helped me with my ancestry to find like where they lived and different types of things. So
Sure.
go on to the next one. And so this one is a little bit earlier image of him. Um, So it's just an earlier version of the one we saw, and then we'll go to the next one.
Well, look, and
Eh,
it says there you can
Yeah.
see on the date there says arrived at was it 5/2/1907? Either 5 or 3/2, so either March
Well,
or
let's go to the next
May.
one. I'm going to show you on the next one.
Oh, there you go. Look at me jumping ahead.
Yeah.
And there it
You
is.
can.
Look
All right.
at that.
Yeah. So it says he would his relative or friend that notified if serious illness, accident, or death happened. And he puts Stephen Calvert. That's my great great grandfather. He calls it friend on there, but in some of these other things, you'll see him listed, and the others are listed as cousins and stuff like that. But he lived in Texas, and you look for the institution. What day would you think the institution would start working for Panama Canal?
August 15th.
No,
Oh, May 4th. It says it right there. The, what do you call that?
May
The
4th.
acquisition day.
So May the 4th was with him.
Yeah.
He worked. He was the
Sure
longest
was.
employed at that time. People beat him a few years later, but at the time he was the oldest employee working for the
That's
Panama Canal.
fascinating, dude.
But he started May 4th, and he arrived on the isthmus May 2nd, and he came by boat with my great great grandmother and her three daughters.
Got 2
And then
days to get settled in
he
and get to
worked in
work.
the machine shop, and he got paid 38 cents an hour gold, or a day gold, I guess it was, when he started.
Wow.
But he also is credited with, and I don't quite understand it, but they said that he was the crane operator when they put the gates and the locks together.
Okay.
But every picture I see of the lock gates, they look like they've been built in place. So I'm not exactly sure what that means. Is it like maybe some framing that went in,
Maybe
or
to build them,
whatnot?
lifting up the framing
But
to lift them in place.
yeah, I don't know what it was. But
Interesting.
so he did some pretty amazing stuff.
Yeah,
So that's
certainly did.
Thomas J. Ebden, and what I told Diana is that I have where is it here? I've got a replica medal, the
Hold
one
on,
that
hold on. Let
showed
me
up in the picture,
give me just a
Thomas J.
second here to
Ebden.
take this off the screen. Give me a second.
All right.
And take this off and go. There you go. Okay, move it to the there you go. Perfect. Look at that.
So this is the replica medal that I got through the
Wow.
Panama Canal Society when they were doing a fundraiser for this. And I bought a medal for each one of my great grandfathers, great great grandfathers, because I had two of them
Sure.
that worked there. And then all of the three girls that came down with Tom Ebden on the boat,
Right.
they married men that were Roosevelt Medal holders. So I got
Oh
their
wow. Right
Roosevelt
on.
medals, and then I got um, Tom's medal. And I was going to send it to Bruce, but he already had one. So I told Diana I would send her this, but I wanted to
Yeah, that's
show it
really
off
cool,
before I
dude.
sent it away. But
Heck yeah.
so I found a family member, and through this show, Willie, we're making connections.
That's
Yes,
it.
yes,
Right
All right, so
there's
on.
been
thank you.
Oh,
several
that's
people
awesome,
that
man.
have
What a
done that.
great. You do have such a great legacy in the zone, dude. That's awesome. Good for you guys.
So I just wanted to share that because you're not going to read about this. It was in the newspaper, but you can read the newspaper article, and it just has basic stuff. It doesn't give you
Yeah,
any of that background stuff.
sure.
All right, so we're going to move on to where am I and what am I? So let's go to the next one.
All right. Let's see what we got here. Okay.
Mm.
We've seen these before.
What is that?
Yeah, what the heck is that?
Those bollards. I remember seeing them all over the place. But I know they go. We've done this before.
All right, but it's a twofer.
Yeah.
Where is it?
Where's this at? And don't say the admin building because that's not the admin building
That's not
behind
the
you there.
admin, yeah.
But that's
I'll give
probably
you a hint.
first glance
It's in
you
the
think about
United
it.
States.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's
I
definitely
would
not
say
the admin
Virginia.
building.
All right,
Okay.
let's go to the next one. We can't spend no time on it. All right.
Okay.
This is located at Joint Base San Antonio,
Wow.
and it's at the Army South base.
Interesting.
And if you go on to the next one, actually, I'll read it to you. The Army South was they started in Panama with the Isthmian Canal Commission in 1904 through 1914, and they were part of the Panama Canal Guard. And then they were, the different organizations changed over the years. In 1917, they became part of the Panama Canal Department. And headquarters in Coy Heights, the Caribbean Command, and then it became Southern Command. So this is SCN, Southern Command News. So
That's right.
I don't know my Army history. I need to learn it. Like you said, we got a lot of Zonians that were military. We really need to know all the things that were going on there. But we
Well,
never
we're going to
learned that
start some of
stuff. I
that
mean,
in
we
2
heard
weeks.
193rd Infantry Brigade. We heard Southern Command News, channels 8 and
Yeah.
10 all the time. But, all the different infantries and stuff that were working there. And it changed over the years. But
Sure.
basically, I guess Army South was part of Southern Command Network. So now at their headquarters, you go to the next one, or you're there. They have some soldiers there that were either stationed in the zone or lived in the zone, and they were commenting on this. And so this first guy says, first it says these were the bollards on the light posts
Correct.
in the locks. But
Yeah.
when the aircraft carriers started coming through, the ships would knock into those, so they had to remove those concrete barriers. And these tops ended up going all around the zone, um, and a couple of them ended up in
in the States.
and some of them
Yeah,
here. So
cool.
go to the next one. So this guy named Oscar Agueda, he says he's the Army South Preventative Medicine Operations Planner. He grew up in the Panama Canal Zone, and he recalled seeing them when he was a boy. And he felt that the concrete artifacts are a strong reminder of the command's lineage in Panama. It brought back memories of the Canal Zone. Um, there were these concrete artifacts all around the canal, at the admin building, the governor's house.
That's
And
cool that he
then,
associates a significance to it, not just because
yeah,
it was there.
right.
You know?
And then another person that comments on it is Kay Ritchie, a G3 visual information officer.
Good
He's
old
one of
K. Ritchie. How
ours.
about that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
K
so that might
boy.
be a name that
Hey,
you
boy.
recognize. And so
Oh,
then he
yeah,
says that
indeed.
these artifacts bring together a lot of people. History of Army South and Panama is really significant to those of us that worked at the command during that time. So he must have worked down there before he's up in San Antonio. And then, um, there's a couple of others. Let's go to the next one because we got a lot of stuff to cover. Even one of the soldiers was Panamanian, but
Mhm.
her name is Diana Norton, and she says that she grew up in Panama City, not the Canal Zone. But for her, these artifacts are more than a rock, sand, and gravel. Every time you look at them, they have a significant meaning and connection to me and the canal. So it kind of brings back that what we try
Sure.
to talk about, the Panama Canal Zone military connection, that we all have a connection, but we came from it from different directions.
Correct.
And
One
so it's
common
kind of
bond.
interesting to see that these are up at the base in San Antonio. I mean,
Yeah.
got to give credit to whoever thought about bringing those up
Heck yeah.
and
Heck
knew what
yeah.
to
And
do
give
with
some
them.
good significance to it.
Because I
Those
would
things weren't
imagine that
light either.
99.99% of the people that are at Joint Base San Antonio have no idea what those things are.
Nope. Could care less. In fact, some be like, why don't you get these things out of here? They're annoying. What the hell are these things?
Probably. Let's get rid of them. So they're all right. So then the next one, and there's Mr. K. Ritchie right in the center in the green at the
Yep.
last reunion. I saw him down there. For those of you
Yeah, it was good to
that
see
know
him.
him, I was going through doing this presentation, and that thing pops up, and I'm like, what the heck?
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't in there last month, but it's there
Right.
now.
And there it is.
All right. Okay. So my next what am I is this building.
Okay.
So who knows what this building is? I even put the name right on it. So if you can read it, great. But if not, I left it there. I figured no one would know what this was.
No, I have no idea.
All right.
Oh, what is it?
Yeah.
Do tell.
You
What
can
is it?
put a comment in the chat.
Maybe Atlantic Siders,
No,
Let me
this
see
is
here.
Pacific side.
Pacific side.
All right. This would be the office for Goethals, and this was the administration building in Culebra.
Oh, look at that. Up
Before.
on the hill.
Up on the hill.
Looked
And
like
I
an
think, we
administration
talked about it
building.
before when they had the slides that went through. This thing almost went.
Yeah, no
It was
doubt.
close to
Because
the
it probably
edge.
was very close to the edge.
It was
Yeah.
close to the edge.
Oh, you can see it right there.
But
And yeah, no
Ricky
kidding,
Ricky
beside
made the
those
comment
slides.
last month about the administration building and how it seemed like it was kind of pretentious being up on the hill. And so I'm like, well, that wasn't the first administration building.
Yeah.
We've had a couple of them, and this was the first. And I figured that no one would really see it because this isn't an image you see much.
No,
I
certainly
mean,
Yeah,
not.
no.
you'll see pictures of like they're standing on the steps, the wooden steps, but you can't see the building.
Right.
So, all right. So for Zonians, it's kind of like, hey, that was the first,
Yeah, the original,
administration
the OG,
building.
as
Actually,
Ricky
it
likes to
wasn't the
say.
first. The first one was down in Panama City, and then I'll show you where the.
That's true.
All right. So who knows what this? They go to the next one. So who knows what this one is, or
Oh, the
where
French
it's at?
hospital.
Where is it?
I would go
Okay,
French
where-
hospital.
It's not French Hospital.
No. Toboga?
Hmm.
Because I know the French
On
left
a
the
hill
hospital in
because you're
Toboga
seeing
too.
trees going down below, so there's like a gully there of some
All
kind.
right. So let's go to the next one. Another hint.
Yeah, that's a nice building.
It's the same building.
Wow.
You know what it
where
is, huh?
that? No, I'm trying to
All
read
right.
it up there, but he
All
can't.
right. So let's
read
go to
it.
the next one. This one will give it away.
Give it away. Well, it's the same
Right.
admin building, obviously. Yeah, but nice views.
This
Nice
is
angles.
the administration building in Ancon,
Yeah, that's not the
But-
that's not the current one.
but Exactly. This
Yeah.
thing was built in 1906, and this was going to be the governor's mansion.
Damn.
Lord have mercy.
Times 10.
And Stevens converted it
Yikes.
into an administration building. He didn't want anything to do with it.
Heck yeah, I can imagine why. I mean,
So,
God Almighty.
Yeah,
yeah.
he's
So
an
he-
engineer. Engineers are not like
he had
pretentious.
his when Stevens was there up until 1906, he had his administration working in that building instead of it being used as a governor's house.
Good for him. Good.
Wow.
That building had 15 bedrooms. Each one of them had its own bathroom. It was supposed to have 15 servants, and it had a ballroom. So
Man
it was
alive.
designed to be pretty extravagant.
Yep.
Man.
And
good for
then
that guy, man.
it was used until 1914 when the new administration building was built. The one that we know.
Yep.
Now, is it the same
before.
site or is this a different location?
No, this is now the admin building that we know is right there by Balboa Elementary School.
Right.
That building that we're looking at was the district courthouse.
Oh,
They converted
now I
it into the
see
district
it.
courthouse, so it's right by
Yes.
Ancon by the Gorgas
Oh,
Hospital.
Gorgas would be behind and to the left a little
Yeah,
bit.
right.
Yeah, that was like a road that nobody went up to.
Overlooked, right,
Right.
exactly.
Herrick
It overlooked Panama City,
Yeah,
That was
there were some
Herrick Road,
holes
they
up
called it.
there. Big wooden houses.
and the ballroom became the courtroom. I never went into that building, so I can't tell you what it was like inside.
No, my dad used to go in there a lot. In fact, at one point he got transferred and became the investigator for the courthouse.
I remember driving by that, like to go up Herrick Heights and seeing it.
Yep.
And maybe turn around in the parking lot a couple of times, but I never knew what it was. I mean, I didn't go to the courthouse when I was 8 years old, right?
What a great story of that place, man! A courthouse from an admin, from a supposed to be and gaudy, residence. I mean, come on, this guy's got to be embarrassed to live there.
So go to the next one.
Okay,
that's it today.
Wow,
it burned.
Let's see. There's the admin building. And it's in bad shape.
That's Gorgas.
No, that's Gorgas.
Oh, that's Gorgas.
That's Gorgas.
Yeah, it burned.
Which gives you a good impression of the real size of that thing. That's pretty.
Yeah,
that's big,
that was huge.
All right, burned, huh? Wow.
Yeah. All right. So you can't go see it now. All right. So this next thing, I won't even make you guess. It's not a paperweight, but I guess it could be.
Yeah.
I found this thing. It's like a clear glass thing.
Ashtray.
It says it's the soil contained in this souvenir is from the last trainload of dirt from the cut.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's great.
And it's signed by Goethals. And Goethals says, we dug this. I certify that it came from the last load and blah, 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 blah. And people are amazed at the colors that came out of the rock from the cut.
Interesting.
And I'm like, what is he talking about? I mean, I've got a rock from the cut. It's on the causeway. It's that gray,
right?
Stuff.
We sat on those things, man.
So he certifies this, and then I found these. So go on the next one. They made these artifact things with stones that came out of the cut. And look at that
like
thing.
Gems.
It looked like gems, don't they?
Yeah, it sure does. Almost like
it's like a dragon's foot holding it.
It's like a talon holding it. Yeah. And then
like
on the
harpy eagle or something.
Yeah. And go to the next one.
Oh yeah, for sure. The harpy eagle.
You skipped one.
Oops. Oh, there it is. Yep. Yeah, that does look like a bird's foot for sure.
Yeah, right. And then, but like that's the rock that they were blasting out of there and doing all that. You never saw it in color, right?
No, we never saw that, like you said, on the causeway. That whole causeway is all rock from that area that was blasted out. And none of it looked anything like that at all.
Well, there probably was, but we just weren't paying attention.
Well, I know when I've looked at maps of the geology there, you'll see like there's all these different striations of different types of rock and different things. and I guess apparently some of it looks like this.
That makes sense. I
And
mean,
if you go to
remember the Culebra Cut was a mountain you're cutting through.
yeah. So go to the
It
next
wasn't a
one,
pile of
and
dirt.
it was volcanic too. So
Yeah,
so the
right.
next one, and you can't read it on it, but it says rock from the bottom of Culebra Cut, Panama Canal
Yeah,
on it. So these are souvenirs. I've never seen these. You'd think you'd find them at
man.
like
Yeah. Time to jump
at the
on.
reunion, at some of the vendors would have them, or you would see them at Stevens Circle or something like that,
Sure.
or
There's an
someone would have
opportunity
kept on
right
making
there.
them. But
Yeah.
You
um,
would think.
I'd never seen. I was shocked. I'm like, what the heck?
Well, now we
That's
know
not
what to look
real.
for. Search.
Well, I think I might
Okay.
have to make a trip down to Panama and just buy a boulder off of the causeway
I
and
know.
make about 1,000 of these.
Okay. All right. So let's
You
keep
know?
let's keep going. All
right.
right. Where am I?
That looks like
Where?
a clubhouse.
Some ballroom
with the
there. Is that that's not the governor's ballroom, is it? To his
No,
house?
no.
Oh, I know what this is. This is the clubhouse in La Boca.
Wow. How would you know
Maybe.
that?
I don't know. I'm just thinking.
Go to the next one.
Well, I see a stage in the background.
Oh, I
It's
know what
the
that
restaurant
is.
in Balboa,
That became then
the police
Ricky. You got to know
station.
what that is. Yes.
Yeah.
Balboa
Yeah.
Police Station.
Yeah, but I found that interior picture and I'm like, I got to show this to Will. Will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at the Model T in front there.
Yeah.
Wow,
Right.
that's so cool.
Yeah.
So
I can't
that was
remember what
a
year it
restaurant or
switched
the
over
police
to the police
station?
station, but when it first started, it was a
What
restaurant.
year was that?
Well, it's got to be around 1919.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they didn't really start building stuff until
Sure. Post canal
1915,
completion.
1916. Balboa Elementary was built in 1917. So
Yeah, the focus was on building the canal.
yeah,
Then
and
you
they
build
had
everything around.
yeah, the police station was right across the street from the Balboa School. It was a wooden building. Maybe we'll see it in some of the images I have. The courthouse was there too.
Interesting.
You see the 3 dormers? Has to get the hot air out.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So then, all right. So the next one, I just wanted to.
Where's my Vandalay? Where's my Vandalay?
Yeah, Art
give
Vandalay
credit. You
moment there.
can't read this, but I found a dissertation that someone wrote in 2014. Her name is Sandra Henderson, and I got to give her credit because she had pictures of old Canal Zone schools that I've never seen before.
Oh, right on.
Now,
Okay.
the title of this is The Cultural Production of U.S. Imperialism in the Panama Canal Zone in California. I'm like,
Okay.
I'm not reading this.
Right.
But
we'll enjoy your photos, but we won't read the text.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I mean, I would debate her on some of her conclusions, but she did a fantastic job of researching and finding photos I hadn't seen. So I just had to give her credit. And the next one is one that I found, and I wish I had it when I gave this presentation a couple years back or months back. But Ricky, this one's for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is.
That's the Panama Canal Exposition. I know it quite well.
That's where that
Ralph
softball
Maybeck
field
was
is,
the architect
right down
for
the
that.
street from me, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't have a picture of the front of it. I had a picture of the top, and we could look inside it. But look at all the people. Look at all the people.
It was a world exposition.
That is
It was
a throng of people wanting to get in there, man. And that's a photo. It's not a drawing. It's not a painting.
Right.
It's a photo.
Yeah.
Wow. Now it's 3 softball parks, a gym.
Yeah.
It's great. It's a great park here in the marina.
But that's impressive looking. All the people.
Yep,
I mean, they had millions of people go there. But I mean, that place was.
Well, I don't know if it was you that told us this. The canal used all the latest technologies, and that's what they were going to go see. Is all the latest technology that was being used. Because there was nothing bigger than that canal.
Well, this is America's coming out party. This is America showing the world that look at what we can do, man.
And
we beat the French. I mean, France was a big power back then.
Okay, so now we're going to move on to the history of canals and schools, part 2. And so I'll do a little bit of recap. Some of it will look familiar to you, and I try not to dwell on any of this stuff. But for some of you, it might be the first time hearing this, so I just want to give some facts. So we'll start with the first one. And basically, May 4th, 1904 was Acquisition Day. So that's when the U.S. took possession of the canal properties. And then by September of 1904, so it took them, a couple of months to work it out. The ICC authorized a school system, and so there are already over 1,000 school kids down there. And that I'm not sure if that's. I think it's white and black together. I think it said, but they already had 1,000 students already enrolled. And the
Right.
schools were operated by the municipalities. So, like Culebra had a
Oh,
school, Empire had a school, Gorgona had a school. All the canal towns. They basically had a school in each one of those towns, and they operated as towns because they weren't controlled by the U.S. government before that. They were. I'm not exactly sure. They were part of a French company, but maybe they were part
I
Panamanian.
mean,
I
the
don't
town
know.
just kind of. I think back then there wasn't such a
Right.
formal process
Right.
of doing
Yeah.
education.
But yeah, so there were schools already there, and so then the Isthmian Canal Commission, said, okay, we need to take control over this, and had to set up a system. So in June of 1905, Secretary of War Taft appropriates funds for the schools, and then in December of that year, they um, hired Donald O'Connor as the first superintendent. And if you're at Balboa High School, the street between the gym and the buildings was O'Connor Place. So
Oh, how about that?
that was named after the first superintendent of Canal Zone schools. And then the first U.S. school opened January 2nd, 1906 in Corozal, and I can't find a photo um,
Okay.
of that building. So basically, so you had municipal schools, but then the U.S. built it. Got funds, built its first school in Corozal in 1906. All
Right
right.
on.
So the next one, just out of the canal record and stuff, the first public school established under the United States government was opened in Corozal in January of 1906. The first superintendent was appointed in December. That was O'Connor. School term is approximately 4 months, so it wasn't very long, and
Months.
they had between 6 and 7 pupils on average, the maximum being 9. And then um, and then it said that enrollment um, was previously been open throughout the zone, which was operated by the municipalities, and they had more than 150 students. And then they were going to eventually be transferred and consolidated with the government system. So that's basically it. You had schools there, but they weren't.
4 months, man.
Yeah. All right. So
Jeez.
let's go on to the next one. So
Okay.
there were two school systems that kind of overlapped, the municipal and the U.S. ones, kind of between 1904, 1905, 1906, and then they merged in February 1906. And at that time, by 1909, there were 29 schools.
Wow. How about that?
And 12 of them were white schools, and 17 of them were colored schools.
Okay.
We'll go to the next. And it said that um, attendance was becoming compulsory, meaning that all kids had to go to school. When you read some of the stuff, there were like a lot more kids there, but not all of them were enrolled in school. Um, and then towards the end of 1906, there were 30 schools in operation, and I think part of it, why the numbers change. I've seen it between 27 and 30, and I think it's just maybe what time of year the article was written,
Sure.
because there were things coming and going. So it
Right.
this one says 30, and then they had 1,200 kids, 34 teachers. And then the 12-month school year and a 6-hour school days um, was new. And
They
then
went from 4 months to 12 months, man.
yeah,
Wow, man.
um,
God, that sucks.
and most of the students were Negro, and only 10% of the children were white at that time. So there weren't a whole lot of U.S. Employees when the canal
Yeah.
started. I mean, they didn't
When it
start
first
ramping up
started, right.
until
Well, it was labor
1906.
intensive, that canal
Right, right,
operation.
right.
So therefore that's where you're
Yeah.
gonna get your percentage
And they
from.
were doing a lot of the cleanup of the yellow fever and malaria and stuff too. So
Sure. Yeah.
all right, so the next one. schools for colored kids. About half the population of the Canal Zone was enrolled in school. They were colored, um, and they most of them West Indian Negroes were the predominant colored population. There were few American Negroes that were employed by the Panama Canal, and then neither the West Indian Negroes residing in the zone. Not all of them resided in the zone. Some of them didn't live in the zone. They lived in places right outside the zone.
Sure.
But they weren't citizens of the U.S. And so what this is saying is that there was white schools, there were black schools, they were separated, but they were mostly separated by um, citizenship as well,
Right. Nationality.
nationality. But there's that's a whole show on itself. So
Certainly.
all right,
Certainly
so
is.
the 30 schools that were mentioned, I found this list. It only comes to 29, so I used 29 because that's all I
Right
could
on.
count. But we know Ancon, Corozal, Pedro McGill, Paraiso, Culebra, Empire, Cascadas, Gorgona, Tabernilla, Gatun, Cristobal, and Colón Beach. And
Cologne
I
Beach.
I don't know where Colón Beach is. I don't
No, I
I
don't
I
either.
tried looking for it. I can't find it. I have a feeling it's just Cologne.
Right. Could
And I'll
be.
show you why I think that in a bit. But and then they had Negro schools. They had one in Balboa, and this is 1909. So they already were
Right.
calling it Balboa, which is rare because that Balboa got named right around that time. So and then Las Sabanas, Paraiso, Culebra Empire, Cascadas, Maratin, Cruces, Playa del Flor. I don't know where that is.
Okay.
Gorgona, San Pablo. We've talked about San Pablo. Tabernilla,
Yeah.
Frijoles, Bojillo, Gatun, Mount Hope, and Cristobal. So, by reading this, I find there are like two names of places that I'm not familiar with.
Yeah.
And
Interesting.
all right, so we'll go to the next one. And this, I found some New York Tribunes, and they are full of pictorials of
Oh,
like
how about that?
1906. Unfortunately, now I've used up my free um, my free
Right.
peeks, so I have to pay to go and open them. But I can look at the covers.
Right. There you go.
But this one,
We'll
this
take it.
one, this one was September 16th, 1906, and it says 29 free public schools already established in Panama Canal Zone. And of course, if you think, well, they were already there,
Right.
but so it has these pictures, and I thought they were pretty amazing. So go to the next one. So the first picture on the cover, public school for whites at Cristobal in the zone. I love that building.
Look at that.
And that sign above it, you can't see it, but I'll show you one that I've showed before. I'm sure it says free public school on it, or Canal Zone Free School or something like that. But I
Okay.
love that building. I don't know exactly where it was. I'm sure it's not there anymore, but I
It
like it.
is
All right,
cool.
so
It's got the coconut tree right in front of the
coconut tree
steps
right
there.
there. Yeah. So let's
Yeah.
go to the next one.
Yeah, that is totally Panama.
The next one is the public Negro school at Frijoles. And so we've talked
Okay.
about Frijoles, it's a stop on the
Yeah.
train, but it was also a Panamanian town. And part of the Canal Treaty let the Panamanian towns that existed, and of course it was, I guess, high enough it didn't get flooded to
Sure.
continue existing, even though it was in the Canal Zone. And so
Huh.
I'm sure some workers lived there.
Yeah, of course.
And this was their school, and you can see they're strikingly different, but it only had 7 students in it too.
Right.
This one shows a little bit more. It said 7 on the chart, but it looks like there's about 15 in the picture.
Yeah.
Um, but
Huh.
not a whole lot. One room classroom.
No.
So we'll go on to the next one, and this is called an old Jamaican school. And back in the French days, the French primarily hired Jamaicans to work for the canal, and same with, I guess, the Panama Railroad. But then after the French went bankrupt and left the Jamaicans kind of stranded without a job and
Right.
not a way to get home, the Jamaican government didn't allow Jamaican men to work for the U.S. government. So the
Right.
U.S., when they went and recruited, they primarily went after folks from Barbados, St. Lucia,
Sure.
and other islands. So this
Yeah.
one was they still knew it as the Jamaican school, right? So and I have to say that the last picture and this picture and the next picture, I have to credit that woman that did her dissertation on it. She found these images. I'd never seen them before.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Cool.
So the next one, children at Pedro McGill segregated white public school in the Canal Zone, and I guess it's the
Yeah.
building on the left with the screens, because she
Yeah.
mentioned in the previous image how the white school had a screen but the black school didn't.
Yeah. Screen wrap porch and then the lifted it up as well as for ventilation and
Yeah, and
so
I would probably say, well, one was probably built like 20 years before,
right.
when they didn't
Right.
know that malaria was caused, or yellow fever was caused by the mosquitoes, and they didn't have screens. So,
Correct. Correct.
but it could have been it's just cheaper, and they didn't they have the funds to do that. But
Sure. Sure.
but you never.
Yeah,
All right,
there's
so
no
combination of the two,
architect that
probably.
designs
Yeah,
to
design.
hurt somebody.
Yeah,
You know what I
right.
mean? That's just
That's right.
the way it is.
So here's
Grandpa Vandalay.
yeah. So the next one is the Gorgona School for Negroes.
Okay.
And then the
That was a
next
pretty
one,
good size one there.
yeah, the
Varnish.
next one is the Gorgona School for Whites, and this picture was taken December 1904. So this would have been one of the municipal schools that was, both of
Yeah,
those
right.
would have been there. So the U.S. government didn't build them; those were schools that they acquired. I
They
think
just
probably
took them
all
over.
three of those schools,
Yeah. Yeah.
and even that one in Cristobal. When they talk about Cristobal School, I maybe they're talking about that one. I'm not sure, because I don't know how long it lasted.
Right.
And then if you zoom in on the sign, and I think this is what the sign said in the Cristobal one: Canal Zone Free Public Schools. So go to the
If I
next
can.
image.
Oh, there you go. Canal
So,
Zone Free Public Schools. Yeah.
and
There it is.
that's what they were called when they were under the municipality part. All right.
Okay.
And then also the schools, they were only organized from first grade to eighth grade. Back in those days, not
Wow.
everyone went to high school. And so they
Sure.
only went to eighth grade. But then
Back then, high school was considered like college today, I guess.
College, yeah.
right.
Some countries are still like that.
Right. So October 1st of 1907, they started teaching high school subjects in Culebra. And basically, they would just use the room at the Culebra school, and they had a couple students, and they would teach them a couple of subjects. And
Okay.
so then in 1907, 1908, the next year, they had 9 high school students in Culebra, 5 Cristobal, and they only had morning classes for only ninth and 10th grade, not 11th and 12th. Part of it is maybe they didn't have a junior and a senior; they only had a freshman and a sophomore,
And they
and
may
they
not
weren't old
even had a
enough. Right.
teacher.
And so they only had classes in a couple of subjects.
Yeah.
So they were high school, but they didn't have a high school. They had a place to take high school classes. So,
Okay.
so then you start reading, and it says 3 high schools are maintained at the present time: one in Cristobal with about 20 pupils, one in Gatun with 8, and one in Culebra with 15.
Yeah. Look at that.
And so at one point, there were 3, and I'm assuming this is just talking about white high schools. There were 3 high schools in the Canal Zone. We only grew up with 2 of them, but they had 3 of them back then.
But I still had a high school.
Yeah, well, that's why I was saying that's why they were only talking about white high schools, but there were others that aren't listed. But what it says here is that because of the small schools, they had a half day session. It started at 1:15 in the afternoon, and it closed at 4:15. So their half day was in the afternoon, and this allowed the kids to get on the train, and they'd go to Cristobal, and they would leave Panama at 10:45 in the morning,
Yeah. Look at that.
and they would take the train over to Cristobal, and then they would leave school at 4:15, get on the train at Cologne at 4:30, and head back home.
Riding
And
the
we
train to
thought we
school
had
every
it
day.
good.
Right? That's amazing.
All right.
That's
So,
incredible.
so this is where the Canal Zone schools, basically there was once everyone went to Cologne High School or
Well, even back
Cristobal.
then, it was only Cristobal High School, and
Only
and, and
Cristobal.
even the Tigers still lost back then. How do you figure that one out?
All right. So in 1909, they had classes at Culebra, Cristobal, and Gatun. In Cristobal, the first graduating class was in 1911. Of course, I guess I had to wait for seniors to go through the system. But the first graduating class wasn't until 1911.
Makes sense.
All right.
Didn't have
So
any
we'll go
seniors
on to
yet.
the next one. We'll go on to the next one. And so the principal, they called it Canal Zone High School at Gatun. She had been appointed to the high school duties at Ancon. And so I just wanted to point out that at that time when they started these high schools, they called them Canal Zone High School
Yeah,
at Gatun, Canal Zone High School at Ancon, Canal Zone High School at, Culebra, but it was all Canal Zone High School.
interesting.
And it was like everyone was a branch.
Yeah,
So, and then the next slide is the Canal Zone High School at Ancon branch, and this was their students. And I can't see what the school looked like. I know it's a wooden building,
right.
and I know it's 2 stories, but I haven't
Sure.
found a picture of it.
Uh-uh.
So, and
Very
I'm sure it
interesting.
came down pretty soon after that image.
Yeah,
Um,
that's amazing.
and then
That's a pretty good sized class too.
yeah, so that's the Ancon class, and then this is the Zonian. So they had the school paper, and you can't read that one. So go to the next one. So I zoomed in, and the staff for the Zonian at the Ancon High School, they had editors, 3 editors, one from each grade, 15, 16, and 17 classes. And then at Gatun High School, they had 2, 16 and 17. So so basically the Zonian was 1 paper but 2 schools, and they just kind of shared everything.
Sure, sure. That makes sense. I mean, you were limited resources back then. You're
Right.
you're still growing.
Yep. So go to the next one. So here's the editor in chief of that. Says this is our 5th year of the Canal Zone High School. And then it says that at the beginning of the year, the plans remain almost identical as they were in the previous year, with the exception of Gatun Branch. Their provision was made for the first, second, and third year pupils. So that would be your freshmen, sophomores, and juniors
Juniors, yeah.
attending junior year from the Atlantic side would have such a long train ride that they were that for the first half of the year, school was held at Empire for freshmen and sophomores, and then they were transferred to Ancon in February, and then they abandoned Empire in Las Cascadas to the main school in Ancon, and then
Okay.
pupils in the 3 lower grades from Pedro McGill um, they were, I guess they went to
To the
Gatun,
Ancons.
or
They said they went to the Ancon
yeah,
school.
yeah. So there were those kids got shoveled around quite
Sure.
a bit.
Well, you think
They
about it, a
didn't
lot of
go to
those
one high
communities were
school. They
coming and
went to
going
like
as
3 places, or had to ride a train to the Atlantic side every day.
yeah.
I mean, we just went for football games like once a year,
I
right?
know,
So
right? They did that every day. They're like,
every
man,
day.
what a damn
So you
train
can
ride.
imagine what that was like. So
Yeah. Well, you think about it, the canal, that route was constantly changing, it was growing, it was
mhm.
excavating. So, a town here today, gone tomorrow, and
Yeah.
you got to move.
But
Time to go to
imagine
the new
what those
school.
kids saw going on that train, because
Right.
that track went right by all the construction. So they got to see the canal being built. That must have
It's
been
funny
pretty
how
neat.
how we look back now at the canal after we've had you on for a little over a year now doing this, and we're like, man, all these things that we've learned that are so fascinating, and we just took it for granted. Imagine back then, these guys are like, yawn, these guys digging again. You know, and then later on, they're like, holy shit, we were watching the construction of the eighth wonder of the world, man. We were watching it every day in real time.
Yeah.
That's a really cool thing to think about, you know, looking back at it, man. With a
Right.
great story to tell your grandkids, you know, that, you know, your ride to school was watching, you know, a Bucyrus excavator digging the Culebra Cut.
Right.
You know, that's quite the story.
So then the next one, we showed this before, and this is a diploma from the Canal Zone High School. And basically, and what it says is that, you know, this was Larry Smith, Julie Smith, David Smith, Gilbert Smith, you know, all the Smiths. This was their grandmother, and Linda Smith posted it on her Facebook page, and so
Yeah,
I
I saw
stole it
that.
from her. But this was 1920, and it's signed by the governor. So they came to
Yeah.
Balboa. It was presented in Balboa, so they had to come to Balboa to get their diploma. But it
Got the
says on
seal on
there
it.
that Alice, she graduated from the Gatun branch. So, but from Canal
Oh,
Zone
look
High
at
School.
that. Yes, that's cool.
So,
That's cool. Even
so
going to
if
Balboa to get it, but you were
yeah,
representing
right,
Gatun.
right.
Ah, look at that. That's cool.
So that was, I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so then 1917, plans for permanent schools: Ancon, Balboa, Pedro, Gatun, and Cristobal, and you know the others, all the other schools. You know, they knew those towns were going to be
Temporary.
demolished and
Yeah.
flooded and stuff, and so then they also knew that they, with the locks, they would have to have a permanent
Sure.
population,
Well,
and
and now
so
you've
they
had a year and a half of the canal opening, so things have started to
right,
settle down. You can
right.
kind of really plan it out.
So they're doing the permanent schools, and so now we're 1917. And then before we go too far, I want to put a map up, the next one. Um, and this is Manzanillo Island. This is basically Cologne,
Okay.
and this is an
Yeah.
old map. Um, and you know, before the piers were built, um, you know, the piers were on the front street there, and then the block. You know, only half the island was developed
Yeah. How
for
about that?
building. The other half of the island was still mangrove swamp. And what I read was that the French, when they started digging the canal, and that basically where you see the railroad yard,
Yeah.
that water body there is, at the time, was called the Fox River.
Okay.
And the maps that we have in the phone book and stuff, they call it the Folks River, Folks.
Okay.
And it said that when the French were dredging, they put some of that fill over on that swampy side of Manzanillo Island, and there were towns there called like um, Fox Houses or something like that, just a little village, and
Yeah.
um, another one they called it like Guava Ridge,
Guava Ridge. How about
and
that?
so just to know that northern part is filled, just like Balboa, where we got filled in
Yeah. Yeah.
with
Yeah.
dredge. That part got filled in as well, and
Sure.
then we'll go to the next one. It became known as
Mhm.
New Cristobal.
Ah.
So the
Okay.
filled part of it, and it doesn't divide Cologne and New Cristobal. So I don't know if they were two separate towns. I know Cologne was Panama and New Cristobal was Canal Zone, so there probably was some type of border. But I saw New Cristobal. I'm like, where the heck is New Cristobal? And so it was up there, right adjacent to Cologne. And then this map shows the new, you know, like the piers there. But I was looking for just below New Cristobal. You see Silver City,
Yeah.
and we know that as Rainbow City.
Okay. Look at that. Rainbows. Okay. Interesting.
Right. And then right below that, it's called Camp Coiner.
Yeah.
I'd never heard of Camp Coiner before, and it was also called Camp
Wasn't there like a
Beard.
military base there?
Coco
I guess it was
Solito.
some type of military.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
You know, maybe where the Marines stayed when they came down for protecting Panama
Yeah.
from the Colombians, and Mr. Lejeune might have stayed there. I don't know. I have to look, go back
Interesting.
where they were stationed at. But it was also called Camp Beard, Bierd, and I think Beard was a Panama Railroad
Okay.
guy, but Camp Coiner and Camp Beard. But now when we talk about Rainbow City, Silver City, you'll see some images. That's where it is. A New Cristobal. Now you know where it is.
Yeah, and I've never so now all of a sudden it finally just dawned on me that Cologne and Cristobal, they're named after the same person. Just using
Yes,
the first and the last name. But
exactly.
all
Christopher
this time it
Columbus.
never
Yes,
just dawned on me until I see this picture. I'm like,
Cristobal Colon. Yeah. All
Fast,
right. Well, I think that was the first Spanish I ever learned.
right?
It was a poem about Christopher Columbus in
Yes,
1492. Yes. All right.
that's
So let's
right.
go to the next one. All
Okay,
right.
here we
So
go.
all these maps go different directions. So sorry about that. But
That's all right.
okay. But you can see on this one now, the whole island is called Cologne now. Um, the um, the Rainbow City is there.
And this is what from one of the later
Yeah.
phone books, I guess.
Yeah. This is like from a probably 1970s phone book
Yeah, right on. Okay.
and stuff like that. So that's what we know. But
Yeah,
but some of these other things, when we say, well, where the heck is Silver City? It's like, oh, that's where Rainbow City is, and where is New Cristobal? It's on it's where the free zone is essentially.
yeah, exactly.
All right,
And you know what
okay,
I'm thinking now, Dave, also is where we saw up here that Camp Coiner. I
hmm
wonder if that's because you see over here Gulick Heights. I wonder if that would be considered eventually became Fort Gulick.
Fort
Because
Gulick
right
is
under
on the lake.
oh, it is. Okay, so I wonder,
Yeah, yeah,
unless
yeah,
I can't read that, maybe it
yeah,
says something else, but it looks like it says Gulick Heights. Maybe it
yeah.
says Gillick,
Well,
Shillick or something.
yeah. And since we have this map up, I'll just say that where the water is right below Rainbow City. Um,
Mhm.
that's where the Pan American airline, the water
Yes,
clipper ships, that's was where they landed at.
the seaplanes, yeah.
Seaplanes, right? All right. Okay, so let's go
Perfect.
to the next one. Next one is the 1917 school that we read, that permanent buildings. This was the
Yeah,
one in Cristobal. So this was the Cristobal school.
okay.
All right. So
And
this
certainly
was,
not the Cristobal High School we came to know, but
yeah. And so I'm thinking that this was close to when it was constructed, because it looks like the flagpole is still being held up, but I could be wrong. I can't read. It says May 1918 on it, so it
yeah.
probably is like it was funded in 17, it finished in 18.
Yep. And Vern said that he said look up Camp Coiner, Panama, and you'll find an entire write up. Okay, cool. We'll have to
Yeah.
check that out then.
Yeah,
Right
there's I
on.
mean there's a whole lot of we need to dedicate some sessions to military.
Yeah,
There's so
agreed.
much stuff. There's so much
Yeah,
cool
no
stuff.
kidding, man.
It's
No
amazing.
kidding.
So then I found this picture. It looks like it's a little bit later. Go to the next one.
Okay, and Chris is pointing out there's the bell.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't see the bell in this one, but you see it in the
No,
first
but
one.
in the first one, there it is, right there up in
Yeah.
the top. But okay, cool. Here we go.
And I don't see the flagpole anymore, but anyway,
No.
but so this is Cristobal School. So then I was like, well, where the heck was Cristobal School located at? I don't know what that is, but anyway, that's Cristobal Elementary School or Cristobal School. Go to the next one.
And then that's the new
And
one.
this is New Cristobal. And I believe this was the high school.
Right.
And so that's where I was like, well, where the heck was New Cristobal? And
Yeah,
was
not the new
Cristobal
Cristobal
School?
High School. This is the high school in New Cristobal.
No. All right. So go to the next one.
Yeah.
And you can see, it had these wonderful arches and stuff like
Yeah.
that. It was 2 stories and
Very Balboa Elementary like.
but yeah, kind of very, very similar, but it's unique. And then go to the next one. And I'm
Okay.
like, holy crap, that school is right on the point of Cologne.
Yeah.
It's at the end. The Hotel Washington would be like, this school would be like facing the Hotel Washington. If you're familiar where
Oh,
Hotel
yeah.
Washington
Okay.
is.
Yes. I was thinking to
And
the right, but yeah, you're right. It'd be behind us in essence.
right. And then if you're looking across the bay there, that's Coco Solo. And right now, I looked online, and basically, it's a skateboard park now. This
How
area,
about that?
this area,
How about
but that
that?
used to be Canal Zone. And I talked to you about reversion back in the 1950s, the
Yeah,
1955 treaty, where New
yeah.
Cristobal was given back to Panama.
Right.
This whole area was given back to Panama. So
That's when they had to move the railroad too.
all the people had to move out of there, and
So now, according to this, then Dave, the canal would be to the right of this, going southbound.
the
We're facing southbound.
canal. No, the canal's not in the image. The school would be facing the canal, but you still have to go through all of Cologne to see it. So go back to the first map.
Okay, this
See where
one.
it says hospital on the
Oh yeah,
left.
Okay, yes,
Okay,
right on the
so
left
what they
edge.
did, they filled in some areas. So
Okay,
the land is different on. I mean, it's all filled in where you see these little bays.
yeah.
But basically, it would be on that coast. Um, where that
And
turn is. That's
so the so then this image then is facing which body of water here?
it
It's
would
facing
be
the
it
top of
it
us or behind us.
well, what you see behind is Manzanillo Bay, and it would be
Yep.
facing um heck, what the heck do they call the bay, um Cristobal Bay, um
Cologne Bay or something,
Malone
or
Bay, whatever, right to the Pacific entrance. um
let me try something real quick here.
Google Earth, yes.
Okay. All right. So we're talking about this island right
There's the
here, right?
breakwater.
yep, right there, right
Okay.
at the right at the
So the
top.
school would be right about there.
I can't see where you are.
You don't see the mouse. You can't see the mouse moving, but you look
No.
almost look like a football field, stadium right there.
Yeah. Yeah, right about there. It's just like it's like a
Like a skate park or whatever.
skateboard park and stuff there, right?
Okay.
So that's you can still see the roads, kind of in the aerials.
Interesting. Okay.
One was
Cool.
called
Ah,
Monteliria, that would have been right in front of the school. That's still there,
okay.
but no building.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway,
All right. So that was a lot of U.S. property that was
sure.
given back.
Gave up
Yeah,
a lot of territory.
never knew that. But so basically, you had Cologne and you had the Canal Zone. That they basically just walk across the street, right? I mean,
Yeah. No
um,
kidding.
and if you look at some of the aerial, if you do Google Maps or Google View, you can still see some houses there that look like the ones that going out Amador Road. But
Okay. Okay.
most, but 99% of them are these more mid-rise, three or
Sure.
four story stuff in there. But I did catch some structures that look exactly like you're on Amador Road,
Yeah. And Chris is telling us that Limon Bay is
Limon Bay.
the bay that we're talking about
It was
there. And
called
then
Navy
Vern just
Bay. That's what, but I don't know if we called it Navy, but Limon Bay. Yeah. All right.
yeah, and Vern's also throwing in here that says New Cristobal High School building still exists and is being used as a private school.
Really?
Tried to get a picture of it when we visited Twin, but there were too many trees and fencing, so it was impossible. Okay, interesting. All right.
I don't see it on the aerial.
Yeah, no kidding.
So,
Let's
all right,
go.
that's cool. All right. So, if you keep on going to the next image, I think this is that school. Um,
Yeah, because it looks like it's got those arches.
yeah. So, but I've never been to either high school, so
Okay.
I'm not sure. But I'm assuming there, and it looks like they're having a pretty good gala there.
Yeah, certainly.
And then the next image is their auditorium.
Wow, look at that place.
It looks a lot fancier than our Balboa auditorium. I mean,
Yeah, I'll
Ours was
say it does.
modern. This one's
that
like
looks
real classical.
that looks classy, doesn't it? So
Yeah,
good
sure
on
does.
whoever designed that. That must have been a fun place, right on the water, and what a beautiful spot, a beautiful school,
Yeah.
and
Nice
beautiful
campus.
campus and the auditorium. I never knew that existed, so I'm sharing it with you. All right.
Right on. Heck yeah. We
So
learned
then we'll
something
go
new
on to the
again.
next one. Says Gatun 1912, and I think this just ends up being the students and not the school. That looks more like a house to
Right.
me. In the still not a whole lot of kids there. 1912. There's about what
Yeah,
50,
true.
50 kids maybe. So
Yeah. Well, we're still in construction times.
yeah,
We
yeah.
haven't
But
finished it yet.
1912, it's getting close.
Yeah, it is. That's
So
true. That's
um,
true.
all
Yeah,
right.
but
Although
those
I guess
kids
we're
are
making
still
more
playing
progress inland.
ball. Yeah, those kids are playing Bringalivio, kick the
Yeah,
can.
yeah, exactly. They
Yeah,
started it. All right.
Yep.
So
no
then it
doubt.
goes on to say this: the new schoolhouse in Gatun. It says it's under construction. It's 88 feet by 6 inches. And it has it has 4 rooms and blah blah blah. So okay, well, but it also says it has a screen veranda running around the building. And then I have this
Okay.
image that I found. It says Gatun Elementary, and I'm like, that doesn't seem like it's the right building. It looks like Ancon Elementary to me,
Yeah.
but maybe it was. There's a couple schools that
Same
look
architecture.
the same, but so if anyone could put in the comments, was this Gatun Elementary, or was it built in
Yeah.
1917, or
Yeah,
what are
Vern,
we
what's your
looking at?
story on this, man? What's
So
going on there?
I don't know. So,
Interesting.
but that's one of the only pictures I found to Gatun. It's amazing that you can't find pictures of the schools. It's
And certainly even into the 60s and 70s, you would think people have been taking pictures with their
yeah, but
kids'
they're just
schooling
not
right now.
posting them online.
Yeah, that's what it is. Come on, people, step up, huh?
I know.
Step
So
up.
all right, so we'll go on to the next one, and this one is called School Garden at Empire, and
Okay.
basically the black schools, their curriculum was geared more towards agriculture, tailoring, more service type
Right.
stuff, and so that every school had a garden, and this was one image I found of the garden that they were having at Empire.
Yep. And you can certainly tell that it's a school, situation because these guys the teachers are in,
Yeah,
they're in civilian clothes. They're not in farming clothes.
right.
So they're sitting
Yeah,
there
yeah.
strictly to teach you.
Right. So
That's
then
cool.
the next one shows an image of it says there are eight colored school gardens with a total of 9 acres, and they produce more than $4,000 worth of fruits and vegetables each year. What they were trying to do as well is to see whether or not they could have agriculture as a viable use in the canal zone.
Certainly.
And I guess it really wasn't that suitable for farming.
Yeah.
But so it was, they had a lot of them, but then eventually they gave the land licenses to those Chinese gardens and stuff, and so
Oh,
that
yeah.
they were producing vegetables and fruits um,
Sure.
to try to get that. And then the young colored women at the Canal Zone school in La Boca, normal school, we talked about that before,
Yep.
and they were on the same image there. So we'll go to the next one. This is the flag raising at Ancon, so I'm imagining
Ancon.
that that's probably opening day of that school,
Sure.
1918.
Could be.
And it looks a lot like the one in Gatun, but of course this one's 2 stories, so it's probably that one probably is Gatun
Yeah.
school. Um, and then the next one is it's
Probably
my
that same one,
resolution.
Gatun.
That one looks like Gatun, but
Yeah.
it's I think it says Ancon on there,
I believe it does say. I think I've seen that slide before. It
but
does say
my
Ancon on it.
my resolution is terrible on that. I don't know what happened to that, but okay. So then we'll go to the next one. This is the back of that school, of Ancon School.
Ah,
You can
yeah.
see it
Look
in
at
there,
that.
and
Yeah, you can
that's
certainly
like
see Ancon Hill in the background.
I don't know, it's like the
Is
clearest
that
picture I
campus
found
still
of any of
available?
the
It's
schools.
still around?
It's still there, yeah,
Yeah, I would
Oh, I
but
would imagine so.
yeah, but there's all that roadway around it now.
Yeah. Right. Right.
All right,
Interesting.
so all right, so we'll go to the next one, and the
Okay.
next one is this is called The Break. And when you read about it, it talks about kids getting to school on a train or by break,
Oh,
and
the school
basically by
bus.
carriage. So this was a
Okay.
school bus,
Okay.
and so you either went from Balboa to Ancon, or you went from Paraiso to Pedro, or
Sure.
Empire to Culebra.
And I would imagine even from the train station, you know,
Yeah,
to the
right.
school maybe.
It's on the break. So that's
Yeah.
so I thought
Oh,
that
that's
was
cool.
cool. That was an early school bus that they called
Yeah,
brakes.
heck yeah.
Didn't know either. I
Look
mean,
at you,
but
Dave. Right on. That's cool, man. I would
uh,
never thought even looking something about like that up, you know. And
well, they show up in the school
yeah,
pic. So all right, so this we're moving on. So there were still like 1917, 18 period.
yeah,
Trying to do this a little bit chronologically, but here you can see the admin building, and then down below you see this tin roof, and the building has this H shape.
yeah.
Um, and so this is a picture of the administration building. But what that building with the tin roof is Balboa Elementary School.
Yes, it is.
And
Mhm.
so we'll go to the
Sure is.
next one. And so this is that building. And before they built the permanent structure, they moved buildings from like Empire. And these I think were like bachelor quarters or something like that. There are three of
Oh
them.
no, how about that?
And then they put them together at this site, and it became a basically a temporary school.
Sure.
And so, just I want you to remember where these kids are playing at, right on the front, this grassy
Yeah.
area.
Okay.
All right. So
Okay.
all right. So then we'll go to the next one, and this is
Oh, that's
Balboa,
popular.
a Balboa a few years later,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and you can see Balboa Elementary School is constructed, but the metal roof building is right next to it still.
Oh yeah.
So this
Okay.
tells me that this was, built. This picture was from like 19, 20.
You remember where those big swings were and the
Yeah, yeah,
metal
yeah.
slide? That's part of
Right.
where that was before.
Exactly. Right. They moved it over, but you can still
And they
see it's like some of the
had those
houses on
big
the
trees there
Prado are
too.
still being built. Like the the
Yeah. The
the
ones on
barber
on Las
shop and the
Cruces.
orthodontist is still
Oh
under
yeah, yeah,
construction.
yeah. I see. Yeah.
Right. And the trees are just planted. So go to the next one.
Oh, the
So
post office not there yet.
Post office that came later. So it
Yeah.
says the high school students in Balboa are now housed in a building originally intended for the elementary grades, while the children in the elementary grades in the Balboa area are quartered with makeshift buildings, which is expected will be abandoned and now scattered elementary grades accommodated in a central school. The new buildings for the secondary group, therefore, among the urgent needs. An auditorium for the Balboa section is another unit in the program contemplated in the early future. So basically, what they're saying is that we don't have enough schools. We're just kind of
Right.
pulling it together, and we're going to try to build something quick. So
And
so
they're gonna
then
move the folks, the
right,
secondary basically are gonna be moved back to their own permanent one that
right,
they're borrowing the elementary
mhm,
schools.
right. So then this article in the record 1917, August 1917, the old frame school building in Balboa, that's the H building, is being removed. The work began on August 20th. A new concrete building will be ready for opening school on October 1st, and
October.
will be as will the new buildings at Ancon, Pedro, Gatun, and Cologne Beach.
Cologne Beach. There it is again.
All right. So I think
Yeah, and
Cologne
Vern said
Beach.
earlier that he thinks Cologne Beach. I think he had it up here in the post. Let me
It's probably
see.
where the high school was, right there
He
on
says
the.
that he said his guess is that Cologne Beach was at or near the Washington Hotel.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
kind of
right,
makes
right, and
sense.
that's
Okay,
where that school was.
right on.
So that would be my guess as well.
Cool.
Um,
And there it is.
all right. So then here's the school, and what you can see on the right side, they basically have slid the school off to the side.
They sure did. Look at that.
So now the school is on the playground area where the big tree and the swings were, and
I
and you,
would absolutely love to watch them do that because I can't imagine how they would do that in 1917, 1918, whenever that was,
mhm,
to move those buildings like that.
right.
That's
Yeah. So
fascinating.
so if you remember playing in the swings there and playing tetherball and all that stuff, at one point their school building would have been right
Yeah,
there.
they slid it right into that.
Slid it right over. Okay.
Yeah, because that's Barnaby Street on
Right.
that top right.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
cool.
All right. So they'll go to the next one. I thought this was pretty cool. This is Balboa Canal Zone Playground. This is basically that's the fire station in the background there. So
Okay.
basically, it's where the gym is.
Yes, it is.
Playground for Children Halloween Party 1919, and if you look closely, all the kids are dressed up in costume.
Look at that. They sure are. So now the house there on the right, behind the kids on the right,
Yeah.
that's no longer there, and that
That
would be the beginning of El Prado, I would imagine, right? Coming in
that
there.
that building, I believe, is the magistrate's office, and
Yes, you're
that
right. It is. Yes, that's
that
exactly what
is
that is.
that is the field that's directly across from the like where the ROTC building was.
Ye-
And then
Okay, so that'd be
then
the
there
field
was,
in between the Goethals Memorial and the ROTC building.
yeah, right.
Okay,
And
right
if you
on.
walked on it, you could see like foundations in the ground, and I think it was for
Oh,
that
okay.
building.
Okay, cool.
All right. Okay, so then go to the next one. They also played on the Prado. You can see
Yeah.
there, right, those trees, May 17th, 1919. And I think see that building to the right, Will? That's that
Yeah.
building. So
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
on the other side.
So
So
looking back behind that middle building there, that's the hill on the other side of Albrook.
yeah, right.
Cool.
Yeah, because it's just a swamp.
Yeah, right on.
Right. Okay, so we'll go to
That's
the next one.
fantastic.
All right. So this one was called the Lodge Hall School, and it was just grades 2 through 4. And when we read that they were scrambling to find places, I guess Lodge Hall, maybe it's like the Knights of Columbus building. It
Hmm.
looks to me, it looks
Okay.
like where the Knights of
Oh
Columbus
yeah, Ancon
was.
Hill's
Yeah,
right
because you see the
behind.
face of Ancon Hill back there,
Right.
the
So
quarried
So
face.
yeah.
so I would think it's like right in that area where Chase
Sure.
Bank is, or
Yeah.
and there was some type of lodge. They had different societies and stuff. So they
The
probably said,
pilots had a spot there.
yeah, yeah. So I think that's there. But there was something called the Lodge Hill School, but it was just temporary.
There was
Right.
also like
They had to accommodate him
two
somewhere.
churches right across
Yep.
from St. Mary's. Remember
Yeah.
those?
Yeah,
The
and
Union Church.
the Union Church.
No,
Yeah, the
with
Union
some.
Church used to be here too. I've got a photo of one of these buildings that's Union Church. I'll have to go and
Oh, and then they went across the street
check.
to the big permanent one.
Right, exactly.
That's cool.
All right, so go to the next one. And so this one is a little bit later, but
Okay. I see
but
where
there was
that is.
something that was called the music school or the music building that they built. And maybe it's the auditorium that they were talking about. But that's essentially where the tennis courts are.
Because that's the fire station.
Yeah.
So that.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was I guess it wasn't it was it would be where the ROTC building is, and then where where the junior college got built.
Yeah, the ROTC building would be almost where you see that looks
corner.
like a slab there.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where the road kind of curves in that direction.
Right.
You can see the tree line for Roosevelt.
Right.
Well, you can see
So
all the railroad.
I never
cars
knew
back
that thing existed, and then I saw this picture and said music building. I'm like, what? All right.
Yeah, and then you see in the background the building for the pilots on front of Pier 18.
Pier 18, yeah.
Yeah, right. And then the substation and the
Yeah.
housewares building.
Yeah, the housewares building. That's right. That's what that was.
And
That's so cool.
Yeah, I remember that was a big question when I worked.
So it's not at school related to some degree. I mean, because music building part of this.
Yeah, of course.
All right. So then we go on this next one. So the Balboa School had this bell tower too, and you can't really see it. I put a block around where it was on it, so it was on the backside. But also, Ricky, you see that tree in the middle of that circle.
Mm-hmm.
You remember how big it got?
Okay.
Oh yeah. Oh no, I know where that is now. Yes.
Hold on.
Left side.
So now where the square and the bell is, then
But-
that's Barnaby Street behind it.
Yes. The bell was on the back of the
Wow,
building.
dude. Oh my God, that tree is tiny.
Yes.
Because that tree
Is
was
that
gigantic.
Well, but that picture I showed you before, the school was slid over. So if there was a tree there,
Yeah.
it got chopped. So it was
So that's
planted
not
right
the
when
tree.
that tree was planted when the school went in.
Sure was. It sure was.
so?
And
Wait. What are we looking at? Oh, okay. So that's the field, correct, where the swings were.
right.
Yeah, you're looking from the admin from
Yeah,
the
yeah,
left side of the
yeah.
hill
Yep.
and looking
All
down, and
those
like
trees
then where that
were
square is, that's
ginormous.
right behind that square is my house on Barnaby. No, wait, my
Mhm.
house is the one to the right. You can just see the roof.
Yeah.
But that's the first
Barnaby's
house on Barnaby.
Yeah.
Because the square is right over Barnaby Street itself,
Yeah.
in essence. Dude, that is
Remember
a
there
cool
was a
picture,
storm
man.
and one of those trees got knocked over and the roots were like 10 feet high.
Yeah, that was
Right?
the one on the other half
On
circle.
the other circle, right?
Mhm. All right, so we'll go to the next one.
Great picture, man.
So this is the bell tower, and I read about it in the Zonian, and they always talk about the bell,
Mm-hmm.
and the bell rings. Like, what the heck are you talking about? There's no no bell there. And then I found these pictures of the bell. And I'm like, oh, they had a bell
Sure enough.
tower on the school.
Sure enough.
So that was what I highlighted in the other image, but
Heck
they took
yeah,
it down.
right on.
And then if you look at this next picture, which is a more current picture, you can see it's gone.
Right.
It's not there.
So the gym is that little parking lot there, and then the upper parking lot is where the upper field was.
Right.
Okay. Wow.
Exactly. There's a playground and a field up there.
Yeah.
And then of course the school has that center courtyard, which was so cool.
It was. It really was.
Right.
Very, very nature like, inside the school.
Yeah.
That was such a great school to go to, man. That was a great school.
It's amazing they destroyed our gym for a parking lot, our baseball park on the top for another parking lot. Come on.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, but you think about
David,
it,
you guys played baseball in that top baseball
but
park.
that elementary school is now office buildings, correct? Balboa Elementary, isn't that offices?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I assume so.
I played. We played soccer. We played softball. Probably not so much baseball in elementary school, but I think it was softball.
No, the Balboa kids used to always go play baseball on that top left.
Oh yeah.
That
top
left.
I've showed the pictures before of
Sandlot games.
Rod Carew and Rennie Stennett and stuff used to come. We would go to that field up there in the baseball field there, and they would give a clinic.
Right on.
Yeah, I was a St. Mary's guy, so we didn't get to hang out with you guys.
No, but it would make sense to need all that parking space if those are offices now.
Yeah.
When they were schools, you're occupied by a bunch of students, so you didn't need all that parking.
Yeah, well.
But interesting. And real quick, going back to the Margarita or Gatun, whichever it was here, I guess that one, because Vern just threw it in there that he said it. That's how he remembers. Is this the one, Vern? Is this the one?
No, well, before that.
Yeah, the other Gatun picture
before
the one, the other one with that walkway, that covered walkway, looks like the same.
You're going the wrong way.
Stairs.
There we
keep
go.
going.
You went too far. You went too far now.
Yeah, I think you went too far. Yeah.
Should be that one.
Yeah, right there. That one. Look, that's the same stairs, except this one has that covered walkway.
Yeah, and it's only one
the bell tower.
Yeah. Maybe it's just common architecture that they were, using.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah.
Right on. Okay, cool.
Similar but different.
Yeah.
All right. So this next one is in the courtyard.
Yeah.
Of it, and this is what I remember it looking like.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
And you can see. Well, you can't really see, but in the doorway is a bell.
Yes, I vaguely remember that.
It's not the bell from the school, but it's a bell from a school, and my dad acquisitioned that when he was principal there. Yeah. And we had it for the 1776.
That's what I was going to say. I associated it with 1776, the Liberty Bell.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
So it probably was an acquisition like 1975.
Sure.
Before that, around that time.
I don't remember if it had a crack in it or not, but.
No, this one didn't have a crack. Okay. So we'll go to the next one. And, so there's the bell in color, and that's me on the left.
Yeah, look at that.
And my dad and my brothers. My dad was principal there for a number of years. And of course we would go there and play. I mean, you run around. And that room right behind my dad to the right side was the ditto machine room,
Ah, right on.
and he would have to go in there and make dittos for
Sure.
the teachers and stuff. So like we'd be there like I don't know at nighttime or on the weekend whenever he would be doing these things, and we'd be in there, and you know how that ditto fluid had that smell, right?
Oh, it sure did. Everybody smelled it when they got it handed
Yeah,
out to
but you
them.
only got one piece of paper, right?
Right.
Imagine being in the room when you had a whole freaking ream of
You
stuff
guys probably hated that
fluid
smell
in there. Oh no, we
after a
loved
while.
it, man. But
What a
but
great memory, though. And smells do that. Smells trigger such memories, man. You know, where I'm sure if you were to come across a ditto paper like that, now you smell it, you'd take you right back to being in that
yeah,
office.
you know that might have been the bell from the Ancon school. From if
Could
I
be.
had to guess, I would say it came
Sure.
from there. All right, so we'll move on to the next one. So here's my detour, and it goes into the this is the Canal Review 1953, and this is the Goethals Memorial. You can see it's shiny, brand new, just
Yeah.
opened right there. So all right, so go um, you can
The
go to the next one
dedication.
here. So this is the dedication of it. And so at the 25th anniversary of the opening of the canal, the Sons and Daughters of the Old Timer Society, um, they invited the grandsons of Goethals to come down to Panama for the grand tour. And so they were shown, everything, but they were also shown some sketches that were made for a memorial for their grandfather, and they were scheduling to erect it at this place called the Cristobal Mole, or Mole, I guess. It's Mole,
Okay.
Mole, Cristobal Mole. I'm like, where the heck is Cristobal Mole? Basically, it's the piers.
Oh, okay.
They were going to build a monument or statue to Goethals in Cristobal. That was their
And you think
plan.
about that now, Dave. If you look at what's happened with the piers and everything in Cristobal, I mean, look at their
Mhm.
high school. It's just completely been overrun by container,
Yeah,
yards. That Goethals would have been buried in container yards,
yeah.
or had to have
So,
been moved. You know.
so in 1928 there was this idea was supported by the 10 governors of the canal zone that preceded or that succeeded
Okay.
Goethals, and even Presidents Taft, and then the four presidents that had served after
Yeah.
Goethals left, they all got behind this. Like, yes, we need to do a monument to Goethals,
Sure.
and so
Right on.
they formed a committee, and the Goethals Memorial Committee included President Taft. He wasn't president anymore.
Right.
I think he was Chief Justice at the time.
Oh, right on.
Kermit Roosevelt, who was Roosevelt's son.
Mm-hmm.
William Randolph Hearst, who's the newspaper guy from San
Publisher.
Francisco. Yeah.
Yeah.
General John J. Pershing.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Look at
And now
that.
I know why I've seen pictures of Pershing at the steps of the Balboa School. And
Yeah.
then
Right.
General Douglas MacArthur. They were on the Goethals Memorial
Wow.
Committee. And so they went
Look
to
at that.
Congress and they issued a bill in 1931, but it didn't get any action. And then in 1935, it 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 got some action, but they cut the funding. um, and then the following year, FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, went and visited Panama, and the canal governor Shealy convinced him, or probably didn't need convincing,
Sure.
that they needed a Goethals Memorial at Cristobal or Low Sosa Hill, and FDR was
Wow.
like all for it, and so
Heck
he
yeah.
he appointed a Goethals Memorial Commission with General Pershing as the chairman. And General Pershing got this guy named Dr. Kret, who was a designer, to visit the canal zone in 1937, and he recommended the Cristobal Mole for the for the site, and Roosevelt approved it. And
Right.
just when they went back to get the funding, um, World War II broke out,
Of course.
and so they decided they would suspend it until peacetime.
Sure, makes sense.
So in 1947, President Truman revived it, and then by 1952, plans were drawn up by Chicago architects Alfred Shaw of Shaw, Metz, and Dolio, and they came up with a 150-foot high marble, 40 feet wide, where those fountains go out, and then 10 feet deep. And it was going to be located in front of the Balboa School on that property where those kids were playing.
Well, that had been when the other one had been slid over.
No. In front of the school. In front of the school where the kids were playing, where the parking is.
Yeah.
Right there at the end of the Prado, not
the big
tucked
circle
behind.
is.
That's
Okay.
where that was going to go, but it got overruled because of the height. It might interfere with the flight path for the planes going into Albany.
Oh, right on.
So they had to move it just a little bit. So that's how it ended up where it is.
Yeah.
So this memorial had been
and that's
five
why they had
other
to
places had been proposed, but they wanted to put it right in front of Balboa School. So that's how I got the connection on this. So
Well, and that's how they had to redesign the administration building stairs, because the administration buildings go all straight down, and then when they decided to do this memorial, they had to do the
all right,
the perpendicular part of it. That's like a ramp.
All right, so let's go to the next one.
Interesting.
All right, so this is one of the sketches that came out in the 1930s.
Okay.
And this is a statue.
Wow. Sure.
Of Goethals. And you can see, Ricky, the stairs are going all the way down, right?
Yeah. We There were we did a podcast on this.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go to the next one.
Okay. And this is the one that was going to be done out in Cristobal.
Right, the mall. So this is basically the end of the pier. So you can see this one has a little bit more height to it. But go to the next one. So this is at the end of this mole, where the piers are. That's where it was going to be, located at the very tip of that.
Oh my God!
Come on.
All right. So then let's go on to the next one. And this is
pretty name mole.
So this was one of the proposed
memorials
sketches, right? And then there's another one. Could look like this, or maybe with a front view of.
I got to give it to the judges. They picked the right one.
They did, man. Because
and then
lame. Look at
this.
Oh my God! It's like a totem pole. It's like a lighter.
All right, then we go on to this one, and this one I'm thinking might be one that they proposed at the Sosa Low, because it doesn't look like it's a mole. It looks like it's on a hill.
Yeah.
So that would have been right behind the clubhouse, right by Balboa Pool.
Holy,
I guess that's Balboa Low. I don't know which way it faced. If it faced like La Boca or it faced whatnot. I haven't figured that out yet. The next one is very similar.
Yeah.
Now this is why you don't drug test architects.
Yeah. And then here's another one of the statue.
Oh, and that's the admin.
Oh yeah. See where the stairs go all the way down.
They had thought about it there, but that's not impressive.
No, not at all. It's not. It's kind of lame.
All right, so they'll go to the next one. So this is an image that's General Pershing, and he's right out front of the school, and so he came down and did inspections. And so that's why he was there. He was there to find a site for the Goethals Memorial, and he, you've heard of the Pershing rocket and all that stuff.
Sure.
He was World War veteran, big
World War I veteran.
Right. So then the next one, just some images of the what we ended up getting.
Yep.
In the location, and it was designed by architect in Chicago, but also there was a Panamanian firm. Of course, the name escapes me at the moment. That was assistant architect, and it was constructed by a Panamanian construction company.
Bandale.
I get that one. Probably, I'll look into that. Yeah, who that
Yeah,
could
so
be.
I'll have to look at what those are. But I just noticed
That's a
in
beautiful.
the picture that they even put the accent mark on Gatun. That's
They
not
sure do.
that's not the U.S. way to do it.
No, it's not. That's
So
Panamanian. That's spelled in Spanish.
yeah,
Gatun.
yeah. So maybe that was the Panamanian architect's
Yeah,
contribution.
Contribution. Yeah.
yeah. Their signature on it. Okay, and it is fantastic. I mean, it's just a
Look at it
beautiful,
right
beautiful
there.
monument, man.
Beautiful
Spectacular.
monument.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank
Right
whoever
height,
images those
right
are. All right.
width.
So,
Yeah.
Will, how much longer you want me to go? Because I got tons of stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, we can set this up for a part two. We're already at the 2 hour plus mark, and this actually is a good might be a good stopping point here.
And pick it up on Wednesday. I mean, on the 15th. So we're
Yeah.
Before we do
We can,
Cahoot.
Yeah,
a little practice run before you get your Kahoot going. Yeah, absolutely. That would be good.
All right.
But that's the original funding was canceled. If it had been constructed before the war, we would have ended up with one of those. Yeah, very good point, Vern. I mean, things happen for a reason. Absolutely,
Right.
and it did, and it is. I mean, what they left there is, again, thinking of the location. You're never going to overrun that area. I mean, at least not for the next 100 years, I wouldn't think. But it's just a beautiful location.
I couldn't find a photo with it all soaped up though.
Oh,
That's
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. And the tadpoles. There's always tadpoles in there because we used to always go catch the tadpoles.
Yes, that's right. That's right. I do remember that. Let me
Yeah,
see.
but I was surprised when I started looking at that, and I was like, "Are you kidding me? They were going to put in Cristobal, and where's the Cristobal mole at? I mean, what the heck?" But those designs and the story behind it, you never heard any of that.
And that location where it's at right now, and that whole area from Stevens Circle to the admin is very much, I guess, the heritage of the Canal Zone. What's left of the heritage of the Canal Zone is that area there, from the Royal Palms to the Stevens Circle itself to the admin building, Gothel's. That one line is really symbolic of the Canal Zone and the Canal Zone era.
ACP is taking care of it.
Yeah, I think they recognize that it is very much a vision of.
They should move the air conditioners though to the back side of the buildings instead of facing El Prado.
I did see an event that happened last year. It was a big musical event, and tons of people there. It looked so festive there.
It did. It all lit up. They had the banners and all the different colored lighting.
They have a lot of live shows there too. They do a lot of music shows there.
It's a great backdrop for a concert. In either direction, it's a great backdrop.
Hey, Mozart 55. Thanks, man. Appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure. No, so listen, Dave, that was a fantastic. Again, as always, never cease to come out of this with a wow, didn't know that. It's always an aha moment from these history lessons, and timing on this couldn't have been better because we are getting ready to start school now, and so we learned about the Canal Zone school. So, but listen. In 2 weeks, let's finish this up. We'll do that Kahoot, and then we'll wrap up with some more school stuff. So again, guys, don't forget about this. That in 2 weeks, August 15th show, it's the Panama Canal anniversary, the City of Panama anniversary, of course, Shorty and Slim's anniversary. But being that it's so festive and it falls on a Friday, so Dave will be joining us, making an exception. This is breaking his contract to come out on a middle of the month to present for us. But it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to be a great day.
And again, as usual, Dave, you never cease to amaze us and everybody in the audience with all your history and your knowledge there. And each time we learn something more about your family, which is just as fascinating. You guys have such a legacy in your family. It's amazing. It's really, really cool.
And my family's growing too.
Right? Yeah, you keep learning and finding new ones each time, man. So that's really cool. That's good stuff. You come to find out, it's like Ricky and I a year ago or a couple years ago found out that hey, we're cousins, man. It's but it's part of that.
Oh, it's been a lot longer than that. It seems like it was a year ago, but it was a lot. It's when 23andMe was first coming out.
That's true. It was
it's been a long time. Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, again, Dave, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for taking the time to do this, because I know this is a lot of work, a lot of research, and you do that.
Yes, you do, David.
We are always
And
very, very
yeah,
grateful for you doing this for
Yeah,
us.
I try to find
David,
stuff that you've never heard before.
correct.
Yes, indeed,
And
and you don't fail.
listen, and David, right now in Panama, the younger generation, they just love Canal Zone history, and our show is something they're all going to. So you're doing a good job of informing, people in Panama and getting them all
Yeah.
really motivated.
It's there's a lot of stuff out there. Like some of the stuff is the article with K Boy was 2017. That dissertation was 2014. That wasn't that long ago.
Right.
People are new stuff is coming out. You can find things. You find tons of maps and things, but you have to be careful because not all of it's accurate. Even I
Right.
find discrepancies
Sure.
even in the Canal record, and all I can think of is like, well, ask someone what's the temperature, and I say, well, it's 78 degrees, and then you say 4 hours later, what's the temperature, and I say it's 85. You're just like, why is it different? And it's like, well, it was a different time.
Yeah.
So when someone did the data, maybe it was accurate for that day, but
Sure.
if it's 6 months later, things are changing so quickly. And you just never know if you have accurate data when you're reporting stuff. You go
Absolutely.
with what you have, right? So so you got to look at it, and then I think some people just take it and that's it. That's the story. This is what we're going with. And there's
Sure.
just so
Sure.
many different things happening. It's like, this was like Wild West when that place started.
Yeah, it would be fascinating to have some kind of a map back in the day, and have, how you see those time lapse maps, how they
Yeah.
keep moving, because you would see the canals and communities come and go, rail lines
Yeah.
moving and being brought back, and it
Cool.
just, it was in
Sure.
constant flux for 15 years
Well,
basically.
I was trying to find the photos of all those first schools and stuff, and it's like I don't even know where they are. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Well, you didn't have that many cameras around then, so everything wasn't so permanent that if you didn't catch it, this go around, you might not have a photographer there for 6 months, and it's already moved.
yeah.
It's gone.
So
It really was a constantly evolving and changing
yeah,
landscape out there, the Canal Zone. So,
yeah,
but anyhow,
things are
again, Dave,
completely
thank you
different.
so much for doing this. Thanks again for taking the time as usual, and educating us on our beloved Canal Zone.
All
And
right, let's hear some Mark Cicero.
yeah, absolutely.
All
We'll
right.
put some Mark
See you guys.
Cicero on,
Gracias, David.
and
Gracias,
definitely we'll
David.
talk to you in a couple weeks again, Dave. Take care,
All
man.
right. Later.
All right, man. So hey, that was fascinating, man. A lot of good stuff there. A lot of great information. The schools, man.
Absolutely.
It's
And
the schools
Willie,
itself was fascinating. How that would change from, like you said, it was local stuff, and I imagine it was very much that way all around the world. People in communities took it upon themselves to educate their community, and then as this become a formal Canal Zone project where this is all a United States territory, they said, no, let's hammer it down a little bit and formalize some of this stuff. So that was good stuff, man. Good info as usual from Dave. Dave never fails to educate us and give us some aha moments there, So, but
Canal Zone
anyhow,
history. We're the only
yeah,
ones.
no, it really is, and this is what we bring you. And of course, in order to be able to do all these things and bring this up, of course, we always ask for help from our friends out there. Certainly feel free to buy us a beer, but also we're very grateful to our sponsors that are able to help us contribute to the show. And our sponsor for this week's show is the Bucyrus Club. It's an investment group, and so if you're interested, check them out on Facebook. But a little thanks and a love there, and then we'll go ahead and wrap this up here, and see.
How many of us wished we bought Bitcoin early? We hear it all the time after the latest huge price surge. I wish I'd gotten in sooner. I wish I'd stocked up before the price took off.
Crypto markets are in the green this morning as Bitcoin hits yet another record high today.
The truth is, the real path to crypto wealth isn't chasing big price jumps. It's getting coins early and frequently. How? Mining. Mining gives you coins. Early Bitcoin adopters built their wealth by mining, and big banks and investors keep doing it. expanding their wealth and squeezing you and me out. Also, traditional mining comes with massive upfront hardware costs and sky-high electricity bills. But there's a better way. Meet Texit Coin, a new decentralized coin mined in Texas. How do I mine Texit coins, you ask? It's easy. We'll help get you access to affordable digital miners. Yes, digital miners. Just a one-time purchase, no ongoing expenses. Coins flow directly to your wallet. Texit Coin Mining pumps crypto coins into your account daily. You mine your own coins and no chasing hype. And a referral program. Earn more miners as you share the Texit Coin opportunity with your friends. Isn't it time for your Bitcoin moment? If you're interested in hearing more about this opportunity, if you're into crypto or network marketing, reach out to the person that shared this video with you. Let's go mine some Texit Coin.
All right, guys. So that's again, that's a sponsor for our show there. Check them out if you can on Facebook, the Bucyrus Club. But listen, guys, great show again. Always love having Dave on to educate us on our beloved canals, on all the things that we thought we knew or didn't know, and come to realize that now. But again, guys, the month of August is chocked full of Canal Zone history, a lot of Panama history, Panama knowledge. Don't forget, next week, Elias Perez from Gunayala Expeditions is joining us. We're going to learn a lot about those guys and opportunities maybe in January if you're going down for the Canal Zone reunion in Panama and you're going to stay there a little bit longer. You can also maybe stay at their location. They got some fantastic trips, as well as an amazing school that we're going to try and help do some awareness, certainly, and some fundraising for those guys as well. I know Allison Huff has worked a lot to help raise funds for them, and so we'd love to help contribute to that and help that grow. Again, in 2 weeks, guys, August 15th, we're going to have the anniversary of the Panama Canal, the anniversary of the city of Panama, the anniversary of Shorty and Slim. So going to be a really fun show. We're going to have a Kahoot and going on there, which Dave will be joining us for that as well. So brush up on your Canal Zone history and your Panama history for that one. And then the following week, the 22nd, really excited for that show. We're going to have Bud Tristano on from Kobe, from the U.S. military. He was down here in the zone in the 70s and just had some absolutely amazing footage, both photos and video. He did the video of the slide, and it just some really cool stuff there. But looking forward to that stuff. Great shows in August, so stay tuned. Ricky, man, get us out of here, man. Great Friday night show,
guys.
Man.
Thank you for joining us with David and listening to our Canal Zone history. We really appreciate your time with us. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We'll see you guys next week.
You got it, guys. Take care. Have a great weekend, guys. Cheers, everybody. Salud.
Cheers.